I must have gone to bed just before Iran scored to tie it. I was stunned at the number of people that were rooting for Iran. I mean, it was loud. I did not realize until the broadcast that that's the largest population of Iranians in our countries in LA.
I agreed with something Clay Travis said like 6 weeks ago. He said that, since we're trying to win over hearts and minds, that we should treat Iran as well or better than we're treating Team USA. And we should roll out the red carpet for them in the whole deal. And instead, we did just the opposite.
So I don't know if you noticed yesterday, late in the show, if my cat's meowing was audible over the air.
I didn't hear a word.
The cat was coming in, the one cat that's loud, and meowing he has a toy, and he carries he wants to play fetch. He carries the toy in his mouth and makes the most obnoxious meow that you've ever heard a cat do. And during one of our 8:30 interview with Dave McCarthy, he was coming in. I was reaching down, picking the toy up, firing it out of the office, and he just kept bringing it back louder and louder.
Wow. Now, did you hear this live as it was happening? Or
I could hear it. I mean, I could, but I've learned, these don't cover my ears, but it certainly seemed to me as if it was going over the microphone. It was that loud. Was that yesterday, Robes? My friend of mine was at the games yesterday with his kids. That's too bad. I wanted the meowing to go over air. I have to be honest with you. It would have made me smile. All right, here we go. What the hell?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Tuesday, where the magic numbers are 74 and 85. 10 weeks from Saturday, the college football season kicks off. And 11 weeks from tomorrow night in Seattle, the Seahawks play host to the Patriots. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well. I have to be very truthful. I was very down for 2 weeks on group play because we doubled the number of teams in the World Cup. And it just seemed that the group play was going to be uneventful. Once again, I'm dead wrong. It has been sensational. We are seeing it's the one sport, and this is where I do laugh at the American sports fan because they want everything to be different. Well, you and I a long time ago, one, we don't buy into that theory. Two, we want ties in baseball. So to have a tie in the World Cup doesn't bother us in group stage. But I'm listening. My daughter's in a soccer camp this week. And trust me, I'm not into the World Cup because my daughter plays soccer. I can't pay her to sit and watch these games with me. But I'm driving to pick her up yesterday. And I'm like, what the hell? What am I going to listen to? Music? I went to the World Cup feed on radio. And I'm listening to World Cup soccer pregame. I just want that to sink in for you, David. I'm not sure our audience cares, but I just want you to know that I was listening to soccer pregame on the radio. This is like 11:30 yesterday because the first match starts at noon.
Welcome back to Miami, where we'll get underway today in 18 minutes and 38 seconds. Continue.
But Spain and Cabo Verde are playing in the first match. And Spain is one of the prohibitive favorites. If not the favorite, they're number 2. And Germany just got done whooping Curacao 7-1. Although it was fantastic because Curacao tied it. For a moment, they're playing one of the world's best teams. They're the smallest nation to ever qualify for the World Cup, and they made it 1-1.
And the all whites are all right tonight. Oh, no.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, New Zealand. But they're predicting the score to be similar. They're predicting Spain to rout Cabo Verde, and the analysts are saying, well, I'm not going to say 7, but 4 or 5 goals should be where they're at today. They should win this and obviously win it comfortably. And these are not American soccer analysts. These are European soccer analysts that follow this sport. Don't do it every 4 years. This is what they do for a living. They're good at it. And here, in fact, one of our listeners who's very much into this sent me an email yesterday before the match because he had sent another one and said if Curacao win, he would get their flag tattooed on his tuchus.
Ooh.
If they win a match.
I love tuchus tattoo bets. Love it.
Right. He didn't say tuchus. He said the word. I'm trying to be good. It's early in the show, and I don't like to scare you off this early. So he doubled down on his Curacao tuchus bet and said if Cabo Verde gets a win, I will tattoo their map on my tuchus.
Wow. This tuchus is going to look phenomenal.
Well, it depends on the tuchus. I mean, there's a few tuchuses that would look phenomenal on. I've seen the front. I can't imagine the back looks much better.
Okay, so maybe the map's a little bigger than we had envisioned, but I still think the possibilities are endless.
And here's a team who is not going to win a game, playing a team that could win the whole thing. And they have a 0-0 tie. Well, to many of you, that would be boring. That's amazing to me that happened. That is absolutely amazing. Egypt's never won a World Cup match. Now they have Mo Salah. He's older now, but he's an elite soccer player, all-time great player.
Mm-hmm.
Belgium is a great soccer nation. Great soccer nation. Another amazing march into the stadium. That's worth the price of admission, just watching some of these European teams make their way in. Okay. Egypt's leading late. Belgium has to rally to tie. Uruguay, pretty damn good South American nation. They tie with Saudi Arabia. And last night, New Zealand and Iran go to a 2-2 tie. 4 ties yesterday. I'm not joking when I say there wasn't any part about it that wasn't riveting. Riveting. I'm in. Give me more.
Well, especially because now look at what it sets up. You know, when we get back to the 4 teams in that group playing, they're all tied with one another. Goal differential, overall points, everything is tied.
And actually, a loss could be big for how close it is, because now that certain groups are putting 3 in, this all adds to the drama of the group stage, which somebody that has a microphone said the group stage is going to suck. Don't know who that was, but boy, is he an idiot.
He's into tuchuses this morning, though. That's the hint. He's into tuchuses.
Well, trust me, when they start showing some of those videos of the World Cup fans, few tuchuses there. Brazil and Argentina.
All right.
Okay, yep. It's a little early for that, Ed.
March in, march on. Right, got it.
So I have really enjoyed this. I enjoyed it so much that when I went to bed late in the Iran-New Zealand game, that was where the sound was, not on the early part of Dodgers-Rays.
Oh, look at you. And there were runs early.
Yeah.
Dodgers-Rays, too.
Yeah, I went to bed with the Rays leading. Turned it off. I think it was 3-0, top of the second. Didn't last long.
3-3. No,
Yeah, I was gonna say didn't last long.
no.
But
Exciting start.
So I've we get this once every 4 years. So we've got some World Cup this week. We've got the U.S. Open starting on Thursday. And apparently we've got the first supplemental draft that people are going to care about, David.
Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast, my friend. I don't know how many people have read beyond the headline last night, which was, oh, by the way, the Texas Tech quarterback's decided to give it all up, and he's going to enter the supplemental draft. As Tim Brando likes to say, occasionally there's a fly in the ointment. Mark, do you know what the fly in the ointment is? Mark, can you tell me when the supplemental draft is scheduled?
Is it this weekend, later this week? The 20, I thought it was in the 20s, because I know they wanted to get that trial on the 15th because they had to get the trial before the supplemental draft. So what's the exact date?
No, this is so NFL. The NFL set a date that you must declare that you want to be in the supplemental draft by. That date is next Monday, the 22nd. Mark, there is no currently planned supplemental draft. There has not been a supplemental draft for 3 years. There has not been a player drafted in a supplemental draft for 7 years. So right now, the Texas Tech quarterback, to give him an analogy that he should be acquainted with, went from holding all the cards to right now he's walking around the room just trying to get a game. Hey, anybody want to play supplemental draft? Yeah, supplemental draft. How about sometime next week? No. I signed up with the sign-up sheet. You can sign up right there at the front of the room. Yeah, you got till Monday. Yeah, you want to play supplemental draft? What do you say we play a nice hand of supplemental draft? Yeah, there's not one scheduled.
And why would the NFL then schedule one for this guy?
Thank you. Mark, I will now give the rest of my time to Mark Miller, and I will sit back and enjoy what now follows.
Because while Roger Goodell has looked at the best minor league system in sports and essentially lifted his leg to pee on it over the past few years. And I David, that's probably being nice to what Roger, because really and truly, he bent over and has taken a dump on it, to be truthful. I mean, he has scheduled big games against their playoff. He has done everything he can do to try to sabotage not only the best minor league system in sports, the only one, wait for it, that's free.
There you go.
Free to its league, because baseball's minor league system, hell, they had to redo the whole minor league system because it was costing the teams too much money, and they dropped all kinds of teams. Hockey, they have a AAA and a AA system. We know where we are because this team that just won their 4th championship in 5 years is a AA affiliate. Basketball now even has the G League. I mean, they have the second cheapest minor league, which is college basketball, and they don't crap on that the way the NFL has done it with NCAA football. But with all of that being said, does anybody really think Roger and co. are going to open up a supplemental draft for a guy who made 9,000 wagers? Help me, David, where the benefit is to the National Football League to have a supplemental draft for Brandon Sorsby.
Nope. I would tell Sorsby, did the UFL championship game just take place, or is it taking place this coming weekend? But I would tell him to get acquainted with that league, because that's where he's going to be playing football next spring.
Either that or learn all the words to "Oh Canada." If they'll take you. So Sorsby's making himself eligible for the supplemental draft. Does the NFL want to even have a supplemental draft? Matt Murschel, who works for the Orlando Sentinel, will talk to us today about what's going on with he and other things in college football that's starting 25 minutes away.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
And Javier, in response to your email, yes, I've ranted on moral victories, but I've ranted on them when teams are essentially equal. There are no more moral victories in pro sports, and I don't really believe that there are in collegiate sports anymore. But I'm with you that yesterday's Cape Verde game was a moral victory. I am with you that the goal for Curacao is that guy, as they said on air, he's never buying a drink in his home country again. If somehow Italy would have hung on, not Italy, if somehow Egypt would have hung on, it would have been amazing.
I would argue, by the way, Paul, the most successful supplemental draft pick was Bernie Kosar. Not only was he a supplemental draft pick, but the Browns didn't originally have the first pick of the supplemental draft, and they engineered a trade to get it. And I don't think that's legal anymore.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Hey, thanks so much for waking up with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Forget the NFL for a second. Mark, I'm just asking if you were part of the brain trust of any of the 32 teams, and you determine that the kid at Texas Tech is NFL caliber. You think he's one of the best 96 quarterbacks who would be in the league in 2026. Would you spend a draft pick on him in the supplemental draft? And for those that don't know, whatever draft pick you spend on him in the supplemental draft, you are giving up that pick in the regular draft coming up in April of 2027. So if you spend a fifth rounder, you give up a fifth rounder, etc. Mark, would you draft him?
Well, if I'm a scout and I'm putting my job on the line that says this guy can play in the league, I think you could get him for a sixth or a seventh. I don't think there's going to be a lot of competition for this guy. So you're not wasting a day one nor a day two pick. So in that regard, I would at least say to my GM, hey, this guy is an NFL caliber quarterback. You want to call Raj and find out if they're going to ban this guy, not allow this guy. If you don't think he'll ever play, that's one thing. If you're asking me, can this guy one day be an NFL quarterback? I'm saying yes. So if that's the case, I think he's worth a sixth. I would put a sixth round spot on him.
Okay. So play along at home, if you will. Don't you have to assume that if they have a supplemental draft, that the league is signing off on him being allowed to play in it, and really doesn't matter. They can even suspend him half of 2026, like he's going to play in the first half of his rookie year anyway.
No, David, I'm worried. What if they ban him? What if they say you gambled, you're not allowed in our league? This is but it's very different than college. There's no injunctions you can go get. If Roger Goodell deems that this guy, because he gambled on football, is ineligible to play in the NFL, he can do that.
No, of course he can. But what I'm saying is, don't you have to make the assumption that if they go through with the supplemental draft, that they're not banning him? Okay. Why, if you're the NFL, why bring on an extra?
Then I would spend a sixth, David. I would look at I would throw out a sixth round pick and hope that my sixth round pick is
Okay.
good enough to get him.
Fair
Yes.
enough.
If I'm a scout that believes it, I don't know, by the way. I am just merely
Right. No.
the question is basically hypothetical. If a scout thinks he's worthy, essentially with that scout, I don't want to say put his job on the line, but give the advice to his general manager that you should get him.
You're the boss. I'm your assistant. What if I make the case, hey, boss, you know me, I'm all for second chances. But do you know how many bets this kid made over 5 years? I mean, are you sure we want to be giving him the second chance, if you know what I mean? Now, listen, I mean, everybody can be selective with who they're giving a second chance. I mean, I don't think anybody has just a blanket policy on second chances. Either you're giving them or you're not. Maybe you do. But Mark, for as liberal as sometimes I can be with certain social causes and certain second and third chances, I don't know if I could recommend, and it's tough to get more pro gambling than Miller or Moulton. I don't know if I worked for a team, though, if I could recommend. I mean, am I ever going to trust when he's on his cell phone? Am I ever going to look at him and not wondering, what's he doing on that cell phone?
Well, David, I don't know. I mean, that to me wasn't the question you asked.
No. I know that.
Those are two completely different things.
Yes, they are.
Completely different things.
And that's why I asked both.
I think he'll be blackballed. I don't think there's a chance that this guy sniffs the NFL unless he were to go to Canada or the UFL, and I mean just light it up.
Right.
Like he has to go through not only a rehab of his life, he's got to prove against pros at another level that he's really good. Because I don't think they're going to waste their time, David. That I'm with you there. I'm with you there. Now, I think it's a far different cry for a scout to say, boss, I don't know what to tell you. The kid can play in the NFL. From then that general manager having to go to his owner and saying, we're going to get the chronic gambler to come play for our team. Call DraftKings and see if they'll up their sponsorship. I mean, that is a long cry.
I do love the irony. So some people are wondering, well, why'd the kid cave? Didn't the kid win? Why did he cave? He was going to be the quarterback at Texas Tech this year. Well, remember yesterday when I said something that, sounds a little ridiculous, sounds like something, idiot sports talk host would say when I said, this is the hill I would die on? Apparently, behind the scenes, the NCAA, in conjunction with the Big 12 Conference, let Texas Tech know this is the hill we're willing to die on. And apparently, the bully got bullied. And in this case, the bully was the Attorney General of the state of Texas, who, interestingly enough, is in a gubernatorial race. A Senate race. He just knocked off the incumbent, and he's the favorite to be a senator from the great state of Texas in the fall. But Ken Paxton is his name. He's the Attorney General. And he came out and said, hey, you NCAA and Big 12, don't even think about trying to boycott and do it because we'll make life worse on you. And apparently that's what got the NCAA and the Big 12 all up in a dander, in which they went, really? And so they both got injunctions yesterday. They both went to court and got injunctions that said they can hand down future penalties against Sorsby and Texas Tech and take their chances in court.
And it was what we alluded to yesterday, that while the NCAA really has no jurisdiction over college football, the playoff committee could have then abided by the NCAA rules and said, I don't know what to tell you, Texas Tech. Your games are all forfeited. You played with an ineligible player, so we're not putting you in the playoff. That was the first thing that kind of came out. And the second thing, along the lines of where David was going, while the NCAA didn't know if they had any power in this case, the Big 12 knew that they did.
Right?
Despite the fact that the Texas Attorney General stuck his chest out and said, don't you dare sue us, the Big 12 and the Oklahoma Attorney General, who came out and said, yeah, I think the Texas guy is full of bunk. I think those things started greasing the skids, not to mention every AD in the Big 12 was like BS. This guy can't play. And they were pressuring the Big 12 to make him ineligible. And for the life of me, at the end of the day, David, I still don't understand why this is the hill Texas Tech wanted to die on. I understand that Cody Campbell's spending all kinds of money and that he hired a guy who was a bad dude and didn't want to look bad, I guess.
But I'm with you. If he had 3 years of eligibility left, he had one.
Do you have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Tim, it's just coincidence. I have two shirts this color.
We
I
call
wore
it
one yesterday. I wore one yesterday. I wore the other one today.
Tim, we don't talk to one another until around 5:58 in the morning.
We had early show prep today. I think it was 5:54. Well, DC, it's the only option he has. And yes, EB, I am. Well, Tim, hang in there. Glad we can help out.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Matt Murschel will join us in a couple hours. He covers college football for the Orlando Sentinel, obviously with a specific focus on UCF. And, well, they've been very much involved in this whole Texas Tech quarterback mess because, well, they're a member of the Big 12, and initially they weren't supporting the conference. They were going to remain neutral or maybe even lean the other way. But we'll talk to Matt Murschel coming up in a couple hours. The magic numbers, ladies and gentlemen, are 74 and 85. 10-week Saturday, kickoff to the college football season. 11 weeks tomorrow night, Seahawks host the Patriots in a Super Bowl rematch to get the 2026 NFL season started. Right now, it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
And we mentioned Texas Tech, Brendan Sorsby. This happened quickly. He's ending his pursuit of playing college football in 2026. He's been advised by Texas Tech to go enter the supplemental draft, and we wish you the best of luck in the NFL. For those wondering if he's been paid any money by Texas Tech, what happens to the money? He gets to keep it. That's what happens to the money. So there. But earlier yesterday, the Big 12 filed for a federal injunction so that they could further discipline Sorsby. So the NCAA is lost in court, but the Big 12 was going to try to inflict some damage. And Texas Tech basically said, yeah, the supplemental draft deadline's in a week. We don't have enough time to resolve all of this stuff in a week. So if you want to play it safe to play football somewhere, you better go enter the supplemental draft. But here's the kicker. There currently is no supplemental draft. There's a deadline to sign up for one, and that's Monday. But right now, the NFL does not have a supplemental draft scheduled. They don't have them every year. In fact, they haven't had one in 3 years. They haven't had anybody picked in 1 in 7. Wouldn't that be the kicker? He signs up for a supplemental draft that never happens. Does the NFL have that good of a sense of humor? They used to once upon a time. I don't know if they have one anymore, but man, I so hope so. See, I don't want there to be a supplemental draft, but no one picks them. I want him to sign up for a supplemental draft that doesn't ever exist. Does that make me a bad person? Anyway, what night in Major League Baseball last night, Mark? For as much as you loved yesterday and last night in the World Cup, and for 4 draws, it was tremendous. There were 10 games in baseball last night. Zach Wheeler continues his comeback from the thoracic surgery that hardly any pitchers ever successfully come back from. He had 6 shutout innings, struck out 9 Marlins. Marlins were the hottest team in baseball. So Wheeler and the Phillies beat him 7-0 last night. Miguel Rojas with a pinch hit homer in the 7th, but the Dodgers could beat the Rays 4-3. How about Eugenio Suarez? He hit 2 homers. Hell, the Reds led 9-0, bottom of the 2nd, on their way to a 12-0 win over the Mets. How about Dustin May? Hadn't thrown a pitch beyond the 7th inning this year. In fact, no Cardinals starter had thrown a pitch beyond the 7th inning this year. Only to have May throw a 1-hitter. Took a perfect game and a no-hitter into the 7th. Lost both. Held on for the 1-hit shutout, 3-0. How about Pete Crow Armstrong? Yeah, he had a cycle last night. You know how many people have had a cycle this year in Major League Baseball? That's a single, a double, a triple, and a homer in the same game. Yeah, that would be nobody. Until PCA did it last night for the Cubs in a 5-4 win over the Rockies. How about Nick Kurtz? 2 homers and 5 RBIs. Poor Jeff McNeil drives in 4. He's not even the star of the game. A's over the Pirates, who are slumping 11-2. Doesn't that drop them below 500?
I think 500.
Okay. Colt Keith had hit 1 home run all year for the Tigers. Hope you played him in fantasy yesterday. He hit 3 homers in 1 night. What in the wide world of sports is going on there? Tigers beat the Astros 9-3. Trout homered his 16th of the year. He's hitting 230, though. Telling you, on the Phillies, I'm asking around, seeing if he'll finally waive his no trade. 4-3, Arizona over the Angels. Josh Bell with a 3-run homer for the Twins. You know, they're only 3 behind Texas for the final playoff spot in the American League. Twins 4-2 over the Rangers. And how about the Nats? 5 in the 5th. They beat the Royals 7-3. Mark, if in late March I said to you that the Nats and the Royals are going to play a 3-game series and one team is going to be 9 games ahead of the other in the standings, would anybody, and I mean anybody, have taken the Nats being 9 games better than the Royals?
Well, David, I have to be frank with you. I didn't think the Royals could be 9 games ahead of anybody. So, I mean, I would have just, I don't think I would have, much like when you do NASCAR in the starting 5, I doubt I would have paid much attention.
Gotcha. Well, the Nats are 9 games ahead of the Royals, who are the worst team in the American League right now. 7-3 Nats over Kansas City. Mentioned it earlier. 4 matches in the World Cup yesterday, 4 draws, and yet the action was scintillating. Group G, Egypt had a 1-0 lead at the half. Belgium gets the equalizer 1-1. Iran and New Zealand went back and forth. Finished with a 2-2 draw. How about Saudi Arabia with a 1-0 lead on Uruguay into the 80th minute? That would have been a shocker. Uruguay scores to emerge 1-1. And the stunner of stunners, Spain, who may be the best team in the tournament, against Cape Verde, who is regarded as one of the 5 worst. 0-0 in Group H. All righty then. Groups I and J in action today and tonight. Group I, France and Senegal, Iraq and Norway. Group J, Austria and Jordan, and then Argentina and Algeria.
I got to tell you, David, if you wouldn't put those letters with them, I wouldn't know who was playing.
Are they going to start Messi? And I know that sounds stupid. How could you not start Messi? Well, I don't know. He's almost 40.
Well, he's not going to play the whole game, so I would imagine they start him and pull him. That would be my guess.
Okay, and I was thinking they go the other way.
That's what they did with Mo Salah yesterday. That would be my guess.
Okay. College World Series yesterday. Texas eliminated Alabama. 14-2.
Alabama got whooped in Omaha.
Yes, they did.
I mean, both games got just destroyed.
By the way, how about best team in the state of Alabama's Troy? And both Alabama and Auburn were ranked in the top 10 this year. And the best team in the state's Troy. How about that? Double elimination. Oklahoma edged Georgia 4-3. So Georgia has to play Texas today. Winner stays alive. Loser's done. And speaking of Troy, they play West Virginia. Winner's alive. Loser's done. NBA. Chicago Bulls reach a deal to hire Portland's interim head coach, Tiago Splitter. Splitter took over for Chauncey Billups a couple weeks into the season last year. You remember when he got arrested by the feds for gambling? He leads Portland to the playoffs. Wins a playoff game. Against the Spurs, by the way. And Portland doesn't keep him? So Chicago hired him to replace Billy Donovan. And this is an interesting game of poker. Remember Kansas freshman Darren Peterson? Terrific player, but he had stamina issues last year. Peterson and his team think they uncovered very late in the season what was causing it. And they basically blame the medical people at Kansas.
Right.
Yeah. So Peterson agrees to work out for the Washington Wizards. They hold the number 1 pick of the draft. And then Peterson and his team says to the other teams, "Now we ain't working out for anybody else." Really? Okay. Gotcha. Because there's no consensus number one pick.
Hell, I don't know if there's a consensus number 2 pick, or for that. I mean, there are 4 or 5 guys, and the odds are this kid's the first pick. But the BYU kid's there. You got a Duke kid there. I mean, there are. The feeling is if you pick in the top 6, you should get a pretty good player.
Yes. But like you said, he could go 1, he could go 5. He really could. It's a very interesting game of poker that Darren Peterson and his team are playing with the upcoming NBA draft, which, by the way, is a week from tonight. And finally, give it up to the Florida Everblades. They won their 4th ECHL championship in the last 5 years last night. Man, any level. How hard is that? They came from 2-0 down in the finals, won it in 6, trailed Kansas City 4-1 in the third, scored 3 to tie it, tied it with 13 seconds left in regulation, scored the game winner 35 minutes into overtime. Apparently the second longest Kelly Cup final game ever played. Blades win 5-4, their 4th title in 5 years, their 5th title overall. Hats off to the boys and the organization. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know here on Miller and Moulton.
So I know it didn't make the starting 5, and I'm being a little selfish here. Have you seen what a grease fire my alma mater's become in the last week, 2 weeks?
I certainly heard Tom Izzo loud and clear last night.
Well, I mean, and I say it like this has made ESPN. The USA Today has a story on it. They have gotten rid, their president left for Clemson. Then their athletic director left for Kentucky. Tom Izzo, may have heard of him, called the president the best president that the university's ever had. He's been there for nearly 50 years between his coaching time and his time as an assistant. The athletic director had done a tremendous job in putting the pieces in place to generate revenue for the school. This all stems from basically the head of the board of trustees. In the state of Michigan, those are elected officials. And this person, by all accounts, is sabotaging the university. And they can't get rid of her. They tried to go to the governor to have her removed. The governor has said no. Izzo's asking all living alumni to help get her out. Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, Cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Thanks so much for being with us. Matt Murschel at about 90 minutes time to continue with the Brendan Sorsby. Only now he's leaving Texas Tech. Apparently that decision has been made for him by Texas Tech. So they were the ones that announced he ain't going to play for him next year. Mark, you do know what the latest rumor is, right? That Dylan Raiola is going to play for Texas Tech instead. If you remember, he was the hotshot Nebraska kid who looks like Mahomes, takes the snap in the shotgun wearing number 15 with the same posture as Mahomes. And he went to Nebraska, and then he decided to transfer to Oregon, only to have the Oregon quarterback not enter the draft. So Raiola is going to get paid 7 figures to back up. Well, if he can get a waiver from the NCAA, he can go quarterback Texas Tech.
Hey, I think the point you made yesterday when talking about the playoff, David, kind of applies here. I'm glad this is seemingly over with and that Brendan Sorsby's not going to play for Texas Tech. For the life of me, I don't understand why Texas Tech wanted to die on this hill. And I'll go back to what Andrew Brandt said, because the first thing I saw in the chat room is something about the NCAA. Look, David Moulton is the leader in the clubhouse for burying the NCAA. The NCAA made this kid ineligible. I don't know what the NCAA was supposed to do other than what they did. Stop it already. This is not on the NCAA at all. Not one iota. They have screwed up 5 million things over the past 20 years. Okay? We know. We get it. As Andrew Brandt said, it's become a cottage industry piling on the NCAA. That's his exact quote. And it's right. But this has nothing to do with that. Nothing.
Can you imagine how that phone call went with the NCAA lead attorney? Phone rings in the middle of the night. The guy answers it, takes a look at who it is, and he goes, "Hey, how are you?" "Oh, no, yeah, good news today." "Yeah." Wait, what do you mean not good news today? What are you talking about? We banned Sorsby. We upheld our rules. We banned him. What do you mean our rules don't apply? Hold on a second. I got to throw some water in my face. I thought you just said that our rules don't apply to our structure. How can that be? I don't know what to tell you, man. Go back to work. It's 2 a.m. I'd go back to work. That poor attorney. Mark, we joked since 2009. That guy hadn't had a win.
Right. But, again, the NCAA, I actually think they deserve a little bit of credit here. One,
Yes.
they made him ineligible. 2, after Texas Tech circumvented the system and went and got an injunction, the NCAA told the Big 12, we got your back.
Yep.
Look, this injunction says we basically have no power. You do. And we're helping you any way that we can. But to me, David, this whole thing, David, when Texas Tech, and I didn't watch all 26 minutes of the video. I watched like 2, threw up in my mouth 6 times, and couldn't watch anymore. And the video I am speaking of is the head coach of Texas Tech, the president of Texas Tech, the athletic director of Texas Tech, the associate athletic director of Texas Tech, and some marketing guy, I think was the fifth one in there, who was their social media guy, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, I apologize. They sat, the five of them, in front of a camera and did 26 minutes defending their position on Brendan Sorsby. It was bad enough, David, when the head coach grabbed a microphone and basically said, well, he didn't kill a guy. He used your line, going back to the receiver who killed a guy and got 28 days in jail.
Dante Stallworth had to pay it 28 days and $8 million.
Right. And David, when we took calls in the afternoon, I said on air, I guarantee there is someone listening who's done more time in jail than Stallworth will do. And damned if we didn't get a call within seconds of a guy who did more time. And David's first question to this man who called our show to admit that he spent more than 28 days in jail. And David said to him,
did you ever kill a guy?
No, sir. That was his answer. Not only did he say no, he said no, sir.
And to Mark's credit, Mark said, don't call him sir. You're calling our show, okay? And he chastises you like that? Don't you? He should be calling you sir.
So when the coach did that, to me, the president has to grab the coach and say, just shut up. Stop it. Don't. David, there's a time, and you and I believe in this, I think. There's a time, even though we talk for a living, there's a time to just shut up and not say anything. And Texas Tech, to me, was in a position after the injunction to just shut up. But instead of shutting up, they did a 26-minute video justifying why they did what they did.
By the way, the most stupid person of the five was the assistant AD, because somebody needed to pull that person aside and go, listen, when this is all said and done, you're going to end up being the AD unless you go on that video. You need to invent a doctor's appointment right now. You need to go in the bathroom and loudly fake throwing up. Do something. Get out of this video. If you do, you'll be the AD here within a year. But if you go on that tape, you have no chance of being the AD here. Think about it.
And David, you have said for years, and I'm going to use your words, but you've often talked that you and I would be the guy in the room when things were bad and they're coming up with a stupid idea or a whatever idea, going, raising our hand in the back going, are you sure you want to do that?
Right.
We've kind of joked about this literally for almost 20 years on this show.
Right. We've said, could you just say that idea out loud one more time? Just say it out loud again. I didn't hear it, I don't think, the first time.
And we're not talking about a brainstorming meeting where you're just supposed to shout out ideas. We're talking about an actual meeting. And David and I have often said, didn't someone in the room raise their hand and say, right, are we sure we want to do that? So not only did the five people at Texas Tech do this, but a vice president, a dean of students, someone didn't say to the president of the university, you sure?
Yeah. We won. We don't have to explain anything. We won.
I mean, even Cody Campbell doubled and tripled down. And that guy just speaks out of both sides of his mouth. In one paragraph, we're spending $1 million to get a softball pitcher. And another one, we've got to save Olympic sports. So that guy's a hypocrite in and of himself.
But he admits it. He said, no, I'm going to abuse the current system that we have until you guys fix it. I'm advocating we fix it. But until we do, I'm going to point out how ridiculous it is. And I'm going to buy all these Olympic athletes to the benefit of Texas Tech. He should just change hats, by the way, with every interview that he does. He should make it more of a joke than he's trying to make it now. Like with those commercials that he does, he should change hats midway through the commercial. This is who I'm representing. Now this is what side I'm representing. And then finally I'm going to go back. And he should end each commercial by having both hats in his hand and looking at them going, I don't know what to do. I digress.
So
Right.
this is fascinating to me on so many levels. But what I want people to understand, as easy as it is to just bash the NCAA on this particular story, they're actually the good guys. They did this right. Not only did they do it right on the surface, but behind the scenes, they have done everything they can do to ensure that Sorsby didn't play for Texas Tech. Their hands got tied by the injunction. What did they do? They told the Big 12, get them. We've got your back.
Do you think the Big 12 would have gone the distance?
I do. And there are many who made the argument, David, which I thought was an interesting argument, saying the one school in your conference who has jumped onto the national scene and who has the money to play ball on the national scene, you're really going to take them down? That was the ultimate question. Because Texas Tech's one of the three even without Sorsby. Texas Tech, Utah, and this year Kansas State's apparently got a pretty good football team. But Texas Tech and Utah are the two big boys now in that conference. Texas Tech actually built this similarly to how Miami built their team. They went out and got as many good linemen as they could. And for that matter, A&M. It backfired on A&M for about 3 years. They seem to have their blank together now. But in a conference that's weak, when you can control the line of scrimmage, you're going to win more than you lose. And that's what Texas Tech did. They thought that Sorsby was the missing link to not only get to the playoff, but to win games in the playoff. But we had Matt Baker on while you were gone, David. And the one thing about this that really has not come out is that Sorsby goes to Texas Tech, then checks into rehab. I equated it, and Matt said he thought I was on the right track, to basically when Mickelson switched to Callaway, that there was a story coming, that this was about to get exposed, and he went to rehab to get ahead of the story.
Right. The rumors that were out there was that he had a big gambling debt, and in order to make that Sports Illustrated story go away, he paid off SI and he changed club manufacturers because they paid off the debt.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I would left Twix. He's got 2.5 years left on his contract. Well, not yet, Feeney. If it gets worse, then maybe. Well, of Twix, you asked me. So, you're 4.5 out of the worst division in baseball, and it ain't close. Your
I
farm
will say, as
system's
far as
depleted.
anybody trading anybody in the American League, I think they're going to wait as close to August as possible. Because what I've thought all along, and I've said it on the show a bunch of times, 2 good weeks, and all of a sudden you go throw a 10-3 week out there. Detroit was on their way to it. They were 7-2, and then they went and lost 2 to the Guardians. Oh, well, that ended that. They win those 2. It's like, wow. They can't beat Cleveland ever.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Matt Murschel at a little more than an hour here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Appreciate the kind words after my medical announcement yesterday. Thanks to many of you. And for whatever reason, I do sound a little better today. Don't ask why. Honestly, I don't know.
You didn't use water with lemon? No hot tea?
I didn't use it hot, lukewarm, cold. Okay, no, I didn't use my favorite big mouth, glass. I didn't use my wife's favorite tea mug. No, I have no idea. Don't ask me what's going on. I don't know. I'm just a patient. Please. I don't know. I don't. I do what I'm a good patient, which I'll bet this shocks them out of most of you. I'm a good patient.
Well, both of us are. And here's why, David. I'll answer for you. And I don't think you'll argue with my answer. When we think we know more than the person we're talking to, which unfortunately has happened many times throughout our careers, we speak up. When we are dealing with people that we find to be much smarter than us, and we are positive that they know far more about what's going on than we do, wait for it. We actually do what they tell us.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. When you're in that room with the doctor and the nurses, that they're the ones that know what's going on, not you.
Now, I will say there have been 3 instances in the last 5 months in which the doctors have said you need to go to the hospital and you need to go right this second. And in all 3 occasions, I told them no.
That's not really wise. In hindsight, that probably was not the right move.
I made a bet with them. I said it was all at night. All 3 times, certain results came in and they said, you need to check yourself into the hospital right now. And I said, the show goes till 10 a.m. I'll be there at 10:30.
I will say my telemedicine appointment, David, that I talked about a while back that was at 9:20 or whatever, they canceled on me, which we thought I could get the appointment done during the middle segment and be back for today was the day when. That was the plan. That's always
Absolutely.
it. Here's the thing. This is the one thing I've learned and I've had to deal with. I don't know about but have to deal with is doctor's appointments very rarely start when they are supposed to. See, our show starts at 6:01 a.m. That's
Yeah.
when the music plays. That's when we let all of our affiliates, and all of our affiliates join the show precisely at 6:01 from Connecticut to Florida and everywhere in between. So when 6:01 comes, we can't say we're going to start at 6:14.
Right. Or 7:14.
Right.
Right. Which is obviously everybody's favorite when all of a sudden your doctor is working in a different time zone. Huh. When did this happen?
So that is, if there's anything where my patients are tested, is when I'm in the appointment room, because they'll bring you in on time, David.
Yeah, which is the worst.
They call you in. In fact, they call you in early. At least where I go, they typically call me in 10 to 15 minutes before my appointment starts. And they tell you that we bring you in and your appointment's in 10, 15 minutes. Okay. If they bring me into, I don't mind. I'm either sitting in a waiting room with a bunch of people or in a room by myself. Doesn't matter to me. My phone's there. I can play a game or go on X. But once I've sat for 30 minutes, my patient starts to wear thin because there are only so many things I can play with in the room. I mean, I've opened the shelves. I've checked out everything, and I do. You put me in here, I'm checking everything out. It's on you now. Anything I can take? You're already billing me enough. Hey, here's a mask. So I'm with you, David. But yes, we are better patients than I think most would expect, particularly anybody that we've worked for or with in the past.
Just have to work around the show. That's it. Okay. I draw a hard line in the sand there. You got 20 hours. Show's done. You got 20 hours. Come on now. Make it work. That's all I ask.
And as someone points out in the chat room, the earlier the appointment, the earlier you see the doctor. I don't know what to tell you. The show goes till 10.
Right. Can't get there before 10:30.
I have a 10:30 appointment this morning. Do you know why? The show goes till 10.
Till 10. Huh. There you
Right.
go.
And when I have to go north, 12:30, because it
That's
takes
the earliest.
20 minutes to get there. That's if
Right.
there's no traffic in Sarasota. So, but yes, Miller and Moulton, better patients than people would think. And David, a better patient than I would think, because I really do listen and do exactly what they say. David has admitted he's told the doctors, when told to go to the hospital on 3 different occasions, no.
If you don't go tonight, you're going to die. That's what they said the last time. And I said, yeah, I'll take the over. And they have no idea how to respond to that, by the way.
I would think not.
No
Because
idea
I've
whatsoever.
been told to go to the hospital once outside of when I was in the hospital. You know what I did? I went directly to the hospital.
Yeah. I said to them both, I go, I don't think so. I go, you're telling me I'm going to die in the next 14 hours. I'm telling you no.
By the way, I should have said no, because by the time I actually saw the doctor in the ER, I happened to have a breakout of like my whole body was in a rash. And so the people at Moffitt said, you need to go to the hospital. It could go to your throat, blah, blah, blah. By the time I got there, the Benadryl I had taken kicked in.
There you go.
The time the doctor walked in, wait for it, the rash had completely disappeared.
There you go. I'll
So
see you tomorrow.
Don't know what that bill will be from the emergency room. Haven't seen it yet. Hoping the deductible that I've already paid covers that one too, but we shall see. Because interestingly enough, this is one thing. They take their sweet time in sending a bill. I mean, David, we send out invoices every month for the past month. The cable company used to send and I don't use cable anymore. I don't like them. They sent out the bill before the month. You paid in advance. So
I've never heard anybody say it just like that. You don't like it. So you're angry with them right now?
no, I'm not angry with them. I haven't used them in a long time. I have no
Okay.
issue with them whatsoever. I have a great internet service that is provided for me by my neighborhood that I live in, and I use streaming. It's wonderful.
Okay. I don't like them right now. Huh.
No.
All right.
So,
Being honest about it. So while we're talking about honesty, you need to get in here or you're going to die. I don't think so. They're not used to that answer, I can tell you.
Miller and Moulton, new motto, we'll do the show as long as we are, wait for it, living.
Living. Right.
That's the key. It will be difficult to prop David up over there if he dies when he doesn't go to the hospital when they tell him that he could. We'll do our best to do a weekend at David's. Unlike Weekend at Bernie's, we would prefer that David's alive.
Right. I mean, it's not necessary, but, we'd prefer it. But all I know is I'm 3 for 3. 3 for 3. And with every time I'm right, I remind them, do you know how hard it's going to be to get me to listen to you with these emergencies? You're 0 for 3.
You're like the Tigers catcher with the ABS.
Totally. I mean, do you really think I'm going to listen to you when it's 2 outs, 2 on in the 8th? Are you serious?
Now you just got to leave the pitcher in, David. Don't go Kevin Cash on us this late in the game.
No. If we know anything by now, okay, we know to not take the guy with the 2-hit shutout out of the World Series.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will say, I don't need to do it on it, but that when Izzo tells 600,000 living alumni it's time to rally, there's nobody else that could say that and get them to do it. This will be interesting because I don't know, there's not much I can do from Florida because they want to get petitions in Michigan. But the fact that Governor Whitmer, they asked to get this person thrown off the board and she said no. And this person's now trying to sue the university for $25 million. She's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Wouldn't happen at a real school. Wouldn't happen in the SEC, I could tell you that. Light proper and take care of the cats.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Matt Murschel will join us in an hour here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. You mentioned it many times earlier. And, this is time to beat me up, not just you, but our audience. I'm not a huge U.S. Open golf fan. I'm not. I don't trust the USGA to not screw up the course. And this is a course, by the way, they've screwed up before. In fact, most times they screw this course up. They lose the course.
You don't need to do anything to this golf course. I mean, this is not Miller and Moulton's opinion. This is nearly every player who's played golf professionally. When asked where could they hold a U.S. Open at any, hey, Monday, the U.S. Open course that they're going to play at got blown up. We need to reschedule it. Where do you go? Shinnecock. I mean, basically to a man, that's what they say.
Yeah. And Oakmont, Shinnecock.
But they say Shinnecock. Yep. They say Oakmont could do it, but they think Shinnecock's a better test of golf. Oakmont's just hard.
Yep.
And yes, the Oakmont lives for being hard. They're proud of the fact that it's always that difficult. Shinnecock is, by all accounts, just an amazing golf course.
Well, and the fact also that it's on the end of Long Island, one of the ends, and therefore it's exposed. It's a links course. And so it can get brutal. And a pin placement that is innocent on Thursday could be just downright unfair on Saturday because of which way the wind's coming and how strong it is. I mean, I'm pretty sure Mark, could get these wrong. I don't think anybody was under par when Koepka won it 8 years ago.
I think you're right.
I think Koepka was 2 over. Fleetwood was 3. They got, I don't know if you saw, Mark, you probably did because you're really into this stuff. They had the statistical quirks, if you will, that you had to be, these 7 golfers are the ones. One of these 7 is going to win it based on, these statistical categories and how they've done so far this year. Okay.
By the way, beautiful weather expected. There's a 40% chance of rain on Thursday, 81, 81, 81, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So perfect conditions.
Great. How's the wind?
From what, literally, it doesn't on my weather app, it doesn't say windy. It just says sunny.
Good. Great. Awesome. 8 years ago, Phil hit a putt that kept going, and remember, he chased after it before it ran off the green, and he hit the putt while moving and got chastised for it. Zach Johnson goes on Sky News like 20 minutes later and says, yeah, the USGA's already lost the course. We got 2 days to go, and they've already lost it. Got no attention. And of course, at the time, I was part of Fox's crew, and Fox, they got a lot of grief for their golf coverage. They never had a problem bringing up setup. And did the USGA get it right or get it wrong? Part of the reason why they had such a bad relationship with the USGA.
I haven't I'll be brutally honest with you, David. One, I'm going away this weekend. And I didn't really, you were gone, I think, when I talked about this. But as you well know, my daughter is into gymnastics. David, she won at a competition this year. There were some raffle tickets, and my mother and my wife bought raffle tickets. And she won, wait for it, a free gymnastics camp. That gymnastics camp is this weekend. By
free, over under $700.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? It's almost double that, and I haven't spent any money on food yet. I just got a hotel room.
Right. Oh, it's just checking in on the free camp.
I let my wife know. I said, you do know, by the way, this is Father's Day weekend. She said, it is? That's that weekend? Yes, it is. And she knows all I've asked for Father's Day the entire time that my daughter has been alive. I make my own dinner on Father's Day. And I make a steak. And I watch the U.S. Open. Well, because of my health conditions, I've been unable to eat steak because you have to cook it like medium well. And what the hell would be the point? Might as well put ketchup on it then. So I've not had a steak since like January.
Seems a little harsh, but continue.
It's not harsh. It's factual.
I don't mean the January. I mean might as well put ketchup on it.
I know exactly what you meant. And so my wife asked me, and I apologize for those listening because I'm repeating myself, but I know David didn't hear this. My wife asked me, what do you want to do for Father's Day? I said, I want to get a hotel room and spend 3 days away from home at a gymnastics camp. I went, good, because that's what we're doing. So I have not jumped into the U.S. Open, and not because of gymnastics camp. That's just a convenient excuse. David, this is the week that I would be spending time online looking at stuff. You know where my brain is. It's with the World Cup. I have been all in. I haven't read an article on the U.S. Open. Mainly because Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I plan on, by Thursday evening, being poolside. Enjoying, I might even get a virgin cocktail and really go nuts. I mean, if we're going to blow money, I'm going to do it.
Might as well.
But my hope is that they will not lose the course. I want to see, in my world, I would like somewhere between 4 and 8 under win a U.S. Open. I'd like a guy to shoot 2 under. If you can shoot, average 1-2 under every day, 6 under and win the U.S. Open, I think that's fantastic. I love watching these guys have to work to make a par. I like when the short game is relied upon. And you can't just go hit it as far as you want. And these guys dig it out better than ever before. I mean, that is, what they're able to do, the power they create in the rough is something that most of us just can't comprehend. We can't swing. We can't put that kind of clubs at speed to get the ball from where they get it from out of the rough. But this is usually the one time, and this course especially, you start missing fairways because it's a links design with US Open rough. That's a hell of a combination.
Right. Right. So imagine your toughest Open Championship course played out in the conditions, and now add US Open tight fairways and rough around the greens. Oh, and not those 11 on the stimp meter greens that they have across the pond either. These are 13 and 14. Yeah, I don't like it. I get virtually no enjoyment out of it. I did enjoy DeChambeau at Pinehurst because I thought Pinehurst gives you a chance to get up and down in and around the greens. And, obviously he made that ridiculous par on the 72nd hole out of the bunker about 40 yards in front of the green. I mean, what a shot. I enjoy that. I enjoy a course that I think gives you a chance to make a 4 and isn't just totally dependent on the lie that you got when the ball rolled just through the fringe. And now, oh, what's that? Oh, that's a crater. Huh. Okay.
Well, the one thing, and I understand where you're coming from, David, the one thing that's changed in golf because of the power they have, no one plays to the front of the green anymore, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Because typically these are courses that if you miss, you want to miss short. Well, these guys don't operate that way anymore. Every shot's to the middle of the green because they hit it so damn far. There was a guy, and I don't remember who it was, David. He was 190 in the Canadian Open. He was hitting wedge. I have no idea what that is.
I don't either.
It's bad enough when they were hitting, 8 irons from 190. Wedge? Come on.
And I've also come to this realization. I don't dislike him. And I marvel at his short game at Augusta. I mean, he is as good around those greens as just about anybody not named Phil or Seve and Tiger. But I'm not a huge Scheffler guy. I'm sorry. He's dreadfully boring. And so Scotty Scheffler going for the career Grand Slam. Okay. I know what an accomplishment it is. I know it's 6 guys who have done it in the sport. I mean, I get it. I really do. But he doesn't do it for me. And he should. I mean, I can argue that 2 of his last 3 years, statistically, the only golfer in the last 25 who compares is Tiger. Okay, so I don't know why I'm that turned off by his personality. It's like he's the first boring golfer I've ever seen. I mean, are you serious? I mean, you can count on 2 hands the ones who have a personality.
Well, I will say, David, he's up there on the most boring of all time. And I like Scotty because I marvel at the game. But seriously, he's as robotic as they come out there. And he's consciously done it. Because if you go back before he got good, he wasn't that way. And his caddy about left him and told him, you need to fix this. This is what's costing you. And he changed his attitude on the course to become boring. And guess what? It worked.
Ugh.
But I mean, yeah, it would be great if Jordan Spieth would win more, David. He's a walking commentary. He's yelling at himself, the caddy, the crowd, anybody that's within earshot. Hatton's in this tournament, one of the live guys. He love him. You know exactly how well he's playing. Rory's Rory's got a personality, whether you like him or not.
So put it this way. If Scotty wins, I hope the golf is either so amazing that it does the talking for him, or the first Masters that he won on Sunday, he got up and down all day. And it was miraculous around the greens. The golf was scintillating. The golf did the talking for him. It was like, oh my goodness, this was unreal how good this was. So
I told the guy that's got the attitude is Bryson. The problem is he forgot how to play golf.
whew.
And, the guy, which is, I will say it's interesting because the guy you like and always pick, and you've stayed with Liv even longer than I have. Like, you bring up Liv's scores. I don't know, other than you, of 6 people that care who wins a Liv tournament. I don't, because no one seems to watch. But for whatever reason, you love John Rahm. You've always been a big John Rahm fan. He and Scotty Scheffler could sit in a room for 2 hours. I don't know if anybody would talk. That's about as boring of a twosome as you could have.
Yeah, Rahm's trying to become more and more boring, and I keep screaming at the television, you were better when you had a temper. It was kind of like when Stadler went skinny. Well, you're not good skinny. Go to eat. Go eat. So, all right, I got my bias out of the way. Just so that everybody knows where I'm coming from. And for you Scheffler fans, I'll even go one step further. I won't pick them to win. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah.
Bet on Scheffler fast, everybody. Telling you right now, now he's got a shot, and I mean a real shot. Matt Murschel will join us next hour to talk about the Sorsby case. Will the NFL even have a supplemental draft? Miller and Moulton.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Go!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Puck, you are right. He even got arrested. That wasn't boring, but he still is. Tough to be remembered as boring. And you got arrested during the tournament. Before you teed off. Paula, you sound like a crush.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Matt Murschel from the Orlando Sentinel will join us in about 35 minutes time here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Bob Harrig talking some golf tomorrow. By the way, I know Mark told you while I was away, but Bob Harrig got let go. Dave Hyde got let go. Sports Illustrated Sun Sentinel. Stupid. So Bob's just written a book, Tiger versus Jack. All right, support him. He's been very good to us and to you, the listener on this show, for 10 plus years. Now, you need your help get him through. You can.
He started a new venture, so he's going to promote that on the show. I reached out to Bob last week. One, I didn't know when David was coming back, so I was still trying to help book the show, and I felt guilty because I knew SI let go a bunch of people, but I don't even pay attention to SI anymore. They're not even a part of my world. I don't know if I've ever gone to SI.com, certainly not in the last 5 years. So when he texts me back, he goes, I don't know if you're aware, SI let me go. And he included the article, and we texted a little bit, but he said, I'll definitely come on. And so we appreciate it because he's still great at covering golf. Not good. I mean, he's great. He's one of the best in the business at it. So he's not been scooped up by anybody as of yet. So he's starting his own thing. So we'll have Bob on tomorrow, get his thoughts on the U.S. Open. I want to talk about something that I brought up last week, but I do want to get your opinion on it because Todd Bowles talked yesterday, I believe, and said we need Baker to protect himself more. And normally I wouldn't give a crap about what Todd Bowles said in the offseason about his quarterback, except for the fact that Baker Mayfield talked a week and a half ago saying that he and the Bucs are nowhere close on negotiations and that he wants a contract before camp begins. Now, I've talked to Pat about it, and Pat thinks it'll get done, and they still have time. They've got, a month and a half, basically, before training camp opens. But when Bowles makes this comment, I think that Baker wants 5 years, which is really 3. We all know that. Are they making this comment and are negotiations far apart because the Bucs are offering 4 with 2.5 guaranteed, not 3 guaranteed? And what exactly are they going to pay him? And I went through a bunch of quarterbacks, and 53 seems to be about the bottom number, David. It really does. If you look at what Justin Herbert's getting, you look at what Jordan Love's getting, you look at what Trevor Lawrence is getting. If he's not getting 53, I would be he's giving them a discount. Literally, if it's 50, he's giving them a discount. But when Bowles makes the comment that Baker needs to protect himself better to stay healthy, is that just coy for we're not going to give you 3 years guaranteed? And what happens if they don't?
I don't think it's the years. I think it's the money. I think Baker's saying, hey, come on now. I didn't have any leverage last time. And you certainly have made out well on this 3 for $100 extension. And when you consider that I signed 1 year for $10 million, you're getting 4 for $110 from me is what you're getting. Come on now. 27, 28 a year. You made out like bandits. So now it's time to pay the going freight. That's what I think this is about.
Okay, so you don't think that they're willing to pay him in the 53 range? You think they're offering him far less than that?
Well, I don't know about far less, but I think that they want to try to get it done in the mid 40s. And I think he's saying, hell no.
Daniel Jones is in the mid 40s.
I know.
And I know you're aware of this, but so our audience knows. Here are the quarterbacks that are all getting paid 50 plus. Jalen Hurts deserves it, by the way. Lamar deserves it, by the way. Justin Herbert, I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's great in shorts and a t-shirt. If you look at it from what he's done for them, it's tough to say he's worth 52 and a half. Brock Purdy, I would say yes. Jared Goff deserved it. Matt Stafford, Trevor Lawrence, really? Jordan Love, really? 55 each for those two, by the way. And then Allen, Burrow, Prescott, Mahomes. Prescott and Mahomes are in the 60s. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are offering Baker in the 40s, I'd play out my contract. I wouldn't even think, and I'm not joking, I'd walk so damn fast. What's their alternative? And the only one Pat gave me is Mac Jones. That's it. That's who's out there next year. And you don't think Baker would get, like, the Steelers are going to need a quarterback next year. Who knows how all of these rookies and second-year guys do across the league?
Mark, I'd pay him. I mean, I would pay him. Okay, I just don't think the Bucs want to give up all of the leverage that they've had. I think they want to be able to save a few bucks going forward and get them for a touch less. I do. I think they're foolish. I think they're wrong. I think they're wrong even if he, on a scale of 1 to 10 this year, he's a 7. Because it's so hard to find these guys, and you don't have one. But Mac Jones, would you give him the Baker contract?
Well, I don't think that's the going rate anymore. I mean, that was the going rate 3 years ago. I think the Daniel Jones is, would you give him Daniel Jones? I think that's a better question, David.
Yeah, believe it or not, I think Daniel Jones can make a little better case for himself than Mac Jones. I mean, think about what Darnold signed with Seattle.
He signed the Baker deal.
Right. And that was coming off the 14-win season that he had. I don't know that Mac Jones is going to have more leverage, but you're right. Usually just by coming later, you gain leverage because you're later. And you can thank Sam Darnold and anybody else for the extra $10 million a year that you're going to make. But listen, I'd get this done. I don't think I'd give more than 3 guaranteed.
And I wouldn't either. If you want to do a 5-year, $265 million contract, which is 53 per, but I'm only guaranteeing 3, that's the deal I'd offer right there. I think, by the way, with the way the cap's going up, that's a very fair deal for the team, not even for Baker. I mean, you think about that. If he ends up playing all 5 years at that, David, if it works out that he's good enough, doesn't get hurt, that's by years 3, 4, and 5. You kidding me?
Hell, I could argue it's a bit, not a steal, but it's the going rate right out of the chute. And not just because that's what other guys are getting paid. I mean, what's the salary cap right now? 302, 306, something like that. Let's go up 8%. Let's make it 330-ish. Okay. So basically, if I pay my quarterback $49.50 million, that's 15% of my cap. Think about that. I could turn around to Baker and give him $50 million. It's still only 15% of my cap. And it's going to go down.
Correct. I mean, right now you have 12 quarterbacks making 50 plus. 12. And, we've got, we're in year 3 of the Drake May, Jordan Daniels, Caleb Williams class, who are all, going to get their extensions here shortly.
I will say, if you're the Bucs, though, let's just say for whatever reason you've got a number in your head and Baker's asking for a little too rich for your blood. Isn't there a part of you, though, that's looking at Baker going, are you really going to leave this situation? Seriously. with how your career has gone, you really going to leave this? Really?
David, look I'm just going to pick one team for next year. And I think their situations are similar. I think that they are average to a little bit above average. From an organization standpoint, I would much rather live in Florida. But from an organization standpoint, next year, the Bucks or the Steelers?
Oh, the Bucks. Oh my goodness. Just the divisions alone, I'd want to stay in the NFC South. But I understand where you're coming from. Totally. I mean, from a number of playoff appearances, wins and losses over the last 3-4 years. Yeah, I get it.
By the way, you win in that other city, the money starts falling from the sky. This is the Tampa Bay Bucks, after all. I would just respond with, you're willing to play that game of the poker if you're the Tampa Bay Bucks? You're
Right.
really willing to let Baker Mayfield go?
Yeah, I think you're crazy.
Mac Jones?
Right. I think you're crazy to even play the game with Baker Mayfield. And what I think the Bucks should do is realize that, hey, they got a deal here the last few years. Now, they rolled the dice, and Baker had to more than live up to his end of the deal, and he did. And because of it, he's going to get paid. But we just got a starting quarterback for $100 million over the last 3-4 years. Okay? Thank your lucky stars. Pay him. And then while you're at it, start looking for his replacement.
I agree 100%. And the other side of this is, you could argue that for each of these 3 years, it really wasn't Baker's team. With who just left on both sides of the ball, he's the leader of this franchise going forward. He's the face of your franchise now. I mean, the guy that's on the hot seat's Todd Bowles. If this doesn't work out well this year, he gone. Miller and Moulton. Little quarterback talk. Love it.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
DC, first off, go get drug tested. I'll start there. Secondly, he has a contract through 2029, so it's really not even a relevant point. So you can't hear that cat right now. Not now. I mean, it was going at it pretty. What? I mean, these mics are good directional microphones. Yeah, if you bring it closer, I can throw it, dumbass. I'm not going all the way to the door to pick up your toy. No. Speak. Now, DC, come on now. Think about what you just said. The Rams are, first off, the Rams are paying Matt Stafford $55 million. Okay, that's the first thing, DC. They drafted a replacement. Oh, I love my cats. They're great. They don't, this one's an idiot. I can't wait to get a dog. I mean, I haven't looked in a while because that's coming at Christmas, but I cannot wait for my dog to terrorize these two cats. I love the cats. They're great. But DC, yeah, they drafted his replacement. They also had 2 first-round picks. Got offered tickets yesterday to the Breeders.
Oh, wow.
I've got to ask the doc if I can go. My guess is it's going to be a no.
November?
October at Keeneland. And the guy who bought the tickets and offered has no idea that I'll be hitting Kurt Becker up to see if there's anything extra we could get while we're there.
I was going to say.
But I have to say, I would go, but to be in Kentucky for the Breeders and not be able to drink bourbon would be staggeringly difficult. It would suck in a little bit of a way, but we'll see. Fact, Paul, and now that we do that, I have to look at Good Dog, my app, to see what we got going on in the dog world. Oh, you were up on the both cats are in the office. There we go. But the other path is they're paying $55 million for a quarterback, DC. They're not playing Ty Simpson. So what's the other path? You're trying to say don't pay your quarterback and draft one. That's not what the Rams are doing. I mean, you could be where your Vikings are. Do you think their quarterback situation's better than Baker Mayfield? Would you rather have Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy or Baker Mayfield? Now, you want to talk to me about what you do with C.J. Stroud coming up? That's a whole nother conversation. Because this is make it happen year for that guy.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Matt Murschel of the Orlando Sentinel will join us coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Thanks so much for being with us on this Tuesday. Bob Herrig tomorrow, Pat Kerwin on Thursday. Best of Miller and Moulton Friday. Best of on Friday.
And that's because I'm taking the day off and there's no way for this show to air otherwise. That's what it boils down to.
That is literally the truth.
David does have the ability and does have the equipment to possibly make it happen. It would require some in-depth training and a lot of other things to happen that I just don't think we're ready for yet, kids. We've got them back. Let's just be thankful about that.
A little later in the summer, I think we're going to have to try, because there's a couple dates early in the football season in which we're going to have to figure out how to get a show on the air without Mark back at the cozy confines. So, I think July and August may have to go find that equipment buried in my closet, maybe hire somebody, put it together, maybe get a new computer. I mean, might have to.
That's the one. That's really all you're going to need, David. That's all. I really think this is more doable than you think.
Okay. All right. Then July and August, I got to make it happen. I got to come through for a change.
TBD. That's all I'm saying. TBD.
Boy, no doubt about that.
All right. Have you, I have waxed poetically about group stage of the World Cup. We go back like 12 years when you were watching China and Costa Rica at 3 a.m.
It's more like 20, believe it or not.
Okay, whatever. Have you, I know that you have a lot going on health-wise. I know that you're probably still a little fatigued, and I'm guessing naps are a key part of your day right now. But, these games are starting at noon. There is nothing like taking a nap. I would put first half soccer right up there with sleeping during a NASCAR event. I mean, you can crash out and not the kids crashing out. That's a totally different thing. But have you jumped in at all to any of this World Cup outside? You said you watched the U.S. game, and I get that. Rah, rah, USA, USA. I believe all that stuff. But have you watched anything else?
By the way, quick sidebar. I hate the whole I believe. And was it Harry Kane who came out, some prominent, Englishman came out recently and said, can we stop it with whatever their chances? He goes, we win 2 matches and you all start breaking out into, he goes, could we get to like a semi? How about a final before we start breaking out a chant? Huh? And I'm totally with that.
First off, literally, there have been a couple of English things. One, they were making fun of a German, there was one German fan in a bar with all the English fans, and they started basically going WW2. The chants are hysterical, but nothing better to me from the chant standpoint that an Argentinian fan was at a Boston bar. I don't know if you're aware, but Boston has become now Scotland because that's what they're playing. They are drinking the city out of beer.
Yes, they are.
They were at the Red Sox game. It was amazing. Well, this just in, the Scots are really not too fond of the Brits.
No, they're not, with good reason.
Correct. We don't need to get into all that, but
nope.
If you didn't know, and if you did, I apologize for speaking down to you. I'm not trying to do that. If you didn't know, the Scots are not too fond of the Brits.
Right. This just in, they have history. We'll just leave it at that.
Right. So the Scots are all in a bar, and a fan walks in with an Argentinian jersey on. Well, believe it was Maradona who scored the goal to knock England out. This is
the hand of God goal, yes.
30 years ago, David?
40, 86, I believe.
Okay. The bar starts chanting and singing, basically praising Maradona, putting the Argentinian fan on the shoulders of Scottish fans in the bar. It is outstanding. I mean, the videos that have come from around our country of the European soccer fan have been amazing. Jameis Winston on camera with the Dutch fans is what we needed to see in this world, and we didn't realize we needed to see it.
You know I'm all for the bar scene. You know I'm all for that. I just don't give me the chance about winning something when you're 1-0-1 in group play, if you know what I mean. Could we, like, I don't know, win a quarterfinal?
I got you, but I at least their chants are good.
Yes.
And it was a poll question while you were gone. You know, do you the I believe chant? Do you love it or loathe it, essentially, or is it lame? Lame won by a wide margin. But Trent, of course, liked it, but he's a child. But I you know that I hate that chant. Hate it.
Here's my thing about group play. And yes, yesterday, I mean, to have 4 draws and have them be as compelling as they were, I mean, that's very difficult to script out. So there have been moments already in this World Cup in which the cup has over-delivered so far. It has. But they have watered down group play. They've watered down the groups. Therefore, they've watered down group play. And quite frankly, the football has saved the World Cup. It's been better than what the product's been better than what the World Cup put on paper. Put it that way. And I don't know how much longer it can continue, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I think by the time we're at the 3rd game of group, that some of these nations that have been a little over their skis may come back to reality.
Right.
But oh God, I can't believe I'm doing this, and I can't believe I'm doing this out loud. What do I love about the Stanley Cup playoffs? Well, the first round grabs you. And these first games have grabbed me in a similar fashion. They've been good enough to make me want more. It hasn't been the opposite. And I was fearful, David, that it was going to be the complete opposite, that we were going to see the Germany 7-1 game against Curacao over and over again.
I'll be curious if it can continue, but let's be honest, right now, all the big boys have not lost. So in that sense, Mark, this is like an NCAA tournament in which you're looking at your brackets going, well, we've yet to have the earth-shaking 215, but that could work out pretty good in about a week.
And that's okay. But I will say, like, you wonder now, and I think Spain will still win their group, but some of these ties could prevent teams from winning their group,
Correct.
Which could affect who they play in the first round of the knockout stage. That's what I see happening. And that's a good thing because that'll give us better matches earlier in the knockout stage. Like the Netherlands blowing that game against Japan, that will end up working out against them when it's all said and done. So that's the part of this that so far has been good. And group play continues, for another week and a half because they don't do this quickly.
And hey, let's be brutally honest. If the U.S. is going to continue to show good form and play an exciting brand of the sport, well, that's really good because they've got a draw. We said if they showed up with a pulse, they could do a little something. Well, okay. Matt Murschel to talk a little something next.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Today will be one of my fun days. Got to run by the Mexican grocery store and get lard. Always love when I roll into the Mexican grocery store because they look at the gringo like, what the hell are you doing here?
Just walked out in the living room. Wife had Barney Miller on.
Me TV?
It's got to be, right?
I don't know. Obviously, you were asleep when John and I were going at it last night. I was making fun of him because he was when I said Iran scored, he was way behind me, and I told him to get off the cable. And he said, "Do you have Price is Right TV?" Which I did not realize. Apparently, there is a channel that just shows The Price is Right.
Wow.
Yes, exactly.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, then the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Pat Kerwin on Thursday, Bob Herrig with some U.S. Open talk tomorrow here on the show. Matt Murschel, kind enough to join us once again. You know Matt, he covers college football for a living with a focus on UCF for the Orlando Sentinel. Follow Matt on X at OS for Orlando Sentinel. Matt Murschel, Murschel. Matt, David, and Mark, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing this morning?
Well, we're doing fine. Just curious, 24 hours ago, did you think that the Sorsby story had another chapter to it?
I felt like this was really kind of, these last couple of days were going to be kind of a make or break moment in this case. Because I felt like with the Big 12, sitting down and meeting, with its board of directors and really starting to hammer some things out, I thought this was going to be the next couple of days where we figured out what was the Big 12's plan. How are they going to handle the Sorsby situation? How are they going to handle Texas Tech? And we saw exactly what they did. And what they did was they came out with probably what I've read has been probably one of the best legal strategies that anyone has seen. The Big 12 basically coming out and looking at filing a federal case, it's asserting that what they do as a conference is going to supersede anything else. And essentially that forced Texas Tech's hand, and it forced Brendan Sorsby to sit down and decide what is going to be your future. Do you really want to go through all this? Do you really want to have to spend a season where you're tied up in lawsuits and things are going to be dealt with outside the football field? And I think in the end, Brendan Sorsby just realized this is just too much, and we can't move forward on this. And so he decides to basically decides not to play college football, and it's going to move on to the NFL. So I think it's probably one of the most interesting off seasons we've had in quite some time, and it's going to be interesting to see maybe some of the after effects when it comes from this.
Well, I agree with everything that you just said there, Matt. And one of the things that I've been trying to get out there over the past couple of days is that everybody wants to blame the NCAA, and I was like, they're not to blame here. They made him ineligible. Then he got the injunction, or Texas Tech helped him get the injunction, however you want to look at it. But it left it up to the Big 12 because they were the ones that had the opportunity to go after Texas Tech and Sorsby. And I thought it was a big moment for college football, Matt. And I'm just curious your thoughts, because Texas Tech is the one spending the most money. Texas Tech went to the playoff. And typically when you're the big boy in the conference doesn't come after you. So your thoughts on the Big 12's decision to essentially take on Texas Tech?
Well, I don't think they had much of a choice. I mean, you look at what the national reaction was. You look at how the Big Ten basically came out and said, we're not going to schedule against Texas Tech. Our schools are in any sport. We're not going to schedule against Texas Tech. You saw what the SEC was starting to do. You saw a lot of other conferences kind of like, okay, what's our next step? How are we going to handle it? And I think for Brett Yormark, who's in his early tenure as being the Big 12 commissioner over the last few years, I think he's done a really good job of moving the conference forward. Well, this was a moment where if he doesn't play it right, he could look really bad. It basically lose a lot of credibility, and I think also a lot of strength as the commissioner of the league. And so he had to say, listen, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about this. And it wasn't just Brett Yormark. Let's not forget, there are other member schools, the other 15 member schools, their ADs, their presidents. What I've been hearing is a lot of those people were not happy with Texas Tech. They didn't want Texas Tech to go through with this. And when you get your league basically saying we're not happy about this, we're going to need to find a way to make this to work. I think that's where it went down and got to the point it was. And when you get down and look at the basics of this case, it all comes down to sports betting, which is one of the things that most coaches, ADs, school presidents, conference commissioners will tell you. It's kind of the big no-no. It's like any other sport. That's the big no-no is you don't gamble against your team. You don't gamble against, in your conference. It's been the concern that people have had for many, many years now. And it's one of the reasons why they try to come up with a good plan. Well, that plan didn't work, and Brendan Sorsby obviously showed that. So they understood that if they didn't stop with this right now, if they didn't find a way to get this stopped, this would essentially open the door for everybody, every other college athlete who wanted to gamble, everyone who wants to spend some money and use sports betting apps and things like that. That would basically give them the blueprint. Okay, if you want to do this and you get caught, you go to court and you sue the league. And they had to find a way to make sure they said, okay, this isn't going to happen. And so that's what the Big 12 really did. And then once you get state, attorney generals involved. And from what I understand is it was really the Texas Attorney General's threat that opened the door for the Big 12 to come out with this court case, federal court, which, they were able to get the win and kind of not the win, but they were able to kind of really put the pressure on Texas Tech and eventually lets the Sorsby decide making his decision.
Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, who is the Republican nominee for Senate in Texas, and he kind of flexed his muscles, or he thought he did, and it turned out it upset the AG in Oklahoma and a few other states, and they basically were willing to challenge him, and him trying to play bully ended up backfiring. And Matt, I don't know if what I'm bringing up is accurate, and if it is, I don't know if it matters. But because I know ultimately it ended up being 15-0 in conference against Texas Tech. But wasn't there a moment about 10 days ago where this was reportedly 13-2 and one of the two was out of Orlando? A, is that true? And B, did it matter?
That I don't know. I talked to UCF athletic director Terry Mahajer last week about this. He was very adamant about the effects of sports gambling. He didn't want to get into specifics with Texas Tech. He didn't want to point fingers and all that. But he said that they were very adamant about the impact of sports gambling, and if that had happened at their school, that essentially they would if a player or coach was found ineligible, that they would make sure that that person stayed ineligible. That was Terry was very adamant about the impact of sports gambling, and so I'm not sure if I buy the idea that they were on Texas Tech's side. I think from what I understand it is it was a big push from the other athletic directors, a big push from all the presidents to really kind of push back against Texas Tech. There's a fractured there, and it's going to be a kind of a little bit of a fractured feeling amongst that league right now. And that's where Brett Yormark is going to have to probably do his his hardest work is sitting down with his other member schools and getting everyone to get back on the same page. Because, if one school is willing to flex its muscles and flex its monetary muscles and has the money to do it, that makes you concerned whether or not there are other, members that maybe you will say, okay, well, if they could do that for this, why can't I do this for something else? You know what I mean? And especially if you're Yormark and you're talked publicly about you're trying to, bring your conference's media rights to fruition, to get more, to try to take football and try to get a good deal in 2030, or basketball and try to get a better deal in 2030, and make sure that you can continue to build on your financial strength. You want everyone on the same page. So I think there's going to be a little bit of that, and I think getting everyone on the same page is going to be, it may take some time. We all know when there's strife in a family, it takes a little bit to kind of work things out. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Big 12 does that.
No doubt. I'm curious, and I just want your thoughts on why Texas Tech wanted to die on this hill. It was one thing to try, but when they got the injunction, then they went to a next level. Then the coach makes his comments in a press conference. Then they have that ridiculous 26-minute video with the president, the athletic director, the associate athletic director, the head coach. I mean, they didn't just double down. They went they basically were letting it ride on the roulette wheel, hoping that red was never going to come up. I guess in their case, black, because they are red. So, but I'm just curious as to your thoughts as to why they picked this hill to die on when seemingly everybody thought that they shouldn't.
Well, I think it's twofold. The first one's easy. Brendan Swordsby, they spent a lot of money investing in this young man. They spent close to $5 million, to get this young man to come there. And, you're not going to back away from that kind of money. And they felt like, that Swordsby and his family, talking with them, that he had done the due diligence when it came to going to rehab, and he admitted he had a problem, and he was going to deal with it, and Texas Tech was going to help them with his problem. I think that was the initial thing. I think too, a little bit of it is you feel like you have a bigger voice. You feel like you're, like I mentioned, the money aspect of it. Texas Tech is deep in the heart of oil country. They have a lot of money. Obviously, Cody Campbell is all of a sudden in the last year become a pretty predominant person when it comes to college athletics. He's been on the forefront of trying to push for reform. He's been in Washington trying to push for these new for the new legislation possibly that would help change how college athletics is. He's been a big voice of that, and I think once you start to push forward on that stuff and you become the voice of that, I think the school itself wants to throw, like you said, cash in its chips and go all in. And it's sometimes you think this is the right decision, and you're so close to it that maybe you don't necessarily see the big picture of it all. And I've said this before. Listen, I get that gambling is an addiction, and I get that it can be troubling, and people need to deal with it as it is. But when you look at the way Texas Tech has handled it, it was never about the helping the addiction. It was about it was more about like, okay, well, if you don't do this, then what's going to happen to this young man? And I think that to me, again, if you have an addiction to something, you should take time to get it under control. You should take time to go and do what you necessary to do. You don't say, okay, you're getting it fixed in 2 weeks just so we can make football camp, so we can be ready to play, what is it, September 1st or 2nd or whatever it is. I think, to be honest with you, if you really felt about this young man and you want to make sure he's getting the help he needs, you basically say you should step away from the football field this season and you should get the help you need. So to me, it didn't make much sense. It felt like they were really pushing this. And then I think once they got pushed back from everybody, I think there's a little bit of just, you start to puff your chest out a little bit. How dare you come at me? How dare you come at our school? How dare you talk about us? We're this and this and this. And so then it becomes, we're going to fight this tooth and nail because people are coming at us. So I think it's kind of a 2 or 3 front that were really why Texas Tech went after this. But in the end, it did look good either one of those ways.
Matt Murschel, Orlando Sentinel, covers college football and a focus on UCF, as you would expect. Follow Matt on X, OS, for Orlando Sentinel. Matt Murschel, Murschel. All right, we got about 2 minutes here. What are we, about 18 months into Scott Frost's return? How's it going?
I think it's going pretty well. I mean, Scott obviously had a lot to deal with when he first arrived here. He's a guy who hadn't been coaching for, a few years. When he got back, you take over a program, you really have to build a staff from scratch. You had to deal with the fact that he hadn't been around NIL for a few years. NIL had changed. He arrives right when we get to rev share. Things had really changed. And, I think the first year was a year of kind of feeling things out. I think he had some success and he had some failures. I think they struggled at the quarterback position. I don't think they really identified a really good quarterback, and that kind of cost them at times. They had 4 different guys playing quarterback. I thought they played well defensively last year at times. I thought their offense just had some breakdowns, especially later in the year. And I think that was kind of some moments where Scott kind of learned some things. And I thought in the offseason coming into, spring, I thought they were able to address a lot of stuff. They got a general manager that really kind of handles all the nuts and bolts of, dealing with NIL and revenue sharing, which took that off of Scott's plate. I think that was a huge help for him. I think he's much more comfortable. I sat down with him, back in January and February, and he just seemed a lot more comfortable, a lot more relaxed than he did the first year. Now the coaching staff is pretty much the same. They understand what they're trying to do. They took their approach to trying to get new transfers, was getting some experienced guys, getting guys that they felt like could step on the field right away, guys that they didn't feel like they're going to have to teach how to play football. In some cases, that's what they had to do in year one. They brought in some guys who didn't see much action on the field, and then they had to kind of spend time teaching them. They didn't have to do that as much this time around. I think they got a good quarterback in Alonzo Barnett III. They brought in a guy who's actually was a starter for James Madison. I think having that kind of stability at that spot, even though Barnett was kind of limited in spring, I think that still kind of helps them out a little bit. And then they got some really good pieces. I think that they brought in as well for the portal. So the challenge is going to be, you've got to show improvement. They can't finish. They got to go to a bowl game at least this year. They got to show that this team is making improvement on the road. They got to win on the road. That's one of the things not just under Scott, but even under us in his last year, they didn't win on the road, and they got to win on the road in this league because that's how you find a way to make some things. So I think overall, I think there's been improvement. Again, you're just gonna have to wait to see if it shows the results up on the field.
Matt Murschel, Orlando Sentinel. Follow him on X, OS Matt Murschel, OS Matt Murschel. Matt, as always, thanks for your time and insight. Enjoy the rest of your summer. We'll talk when camp is firmly underway. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell CoreTech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I was really ready to go into UCF, and his answers were too damn long. I had several more UCF questions because I happened to just listen to my. Yet the timing was perfect, David, because I listened to my Bud Elliott summer school on UCF yesterday. I was ready to go. But he did kind of answer the biggest question. They've got to go to a bowl game this year. No Texas Tech, no Utah, and I think no Kansas State on their schedule.
So do people not think BYU is going to be what they've been?
Well, no, but I'm just telling you that those are the here. I got the Bible in front of me here. Let me just
Okay.
not in front the digital version. He's got BYU picked second. But Kansas State, he's got seventh on here. He's got them tied for seventh. Again, they've got to go to a bowl game. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. But it looks like he's got Arizona State. Yeah, he's got Arizona State taking a big step back. So they've got Bethune at Pitt, Georgia State. These are all winnable games, obviously. Pitt could be a loss. They'll be probably a slight dog. Then they host TCU at Houston. This is apparently their tough stretch. TCU at Houston, at Oklahoma State. They host BYU coming off a bye. They play Arizona State and Iowa State at home. They play Baylor at home. Baylor's decent. They're at Kansas, at Colorado. I mean, they've got winnable road games. But this, it all kind of falls on this quarterback, the kid they got from JMU.
Nice to be back, Joseph.
Are you going to come up? Tease me, aren't you? Come on, give me a little Godfather scene. Come on up. And they're good at it, Mr. Spivey. They've put money into it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the final hour of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Thanks for being with us, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Bob Harrig, talk U.S. Open tomorrow. Pat Kerwin, talk a little NFL on Thursday. That's what's lined up currently. Don't worry, we'll have a little bit more than that once the shows are lined up and ready to go. What a nice little sports day it was yesterday. I mean, mid-June, schedule looks sleepy. It was a remarkable day in baseball. Nearly had a perfect game. Nearly had a no-no. Had a guy hit for the cycle. Had a couple of 3 home run games. Had a half a dozen multiple home run games. Okay, still have just teams that have no business winning, or so we thought, still winning. I mean, just remarkable. Dodgers and Rays got their series off with a good, solid, quickly played game. Okay. All right. World Cup, 4 matches. They were all draws. And you think, oh, that's tedious. No. Actually, no. Some drama with the draws, in fact. Then the story of the spring takes a surprising turn. I mean, weren't you shocked?
I was very surprised. I don't know how much shock happens to me anymore, but after all of the time, effort, and money that was spent to get this injunction, to get Sorsby eligible, for Texas Tech to finally turn tail and say, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. I was like, why did you waste all this time then?
Right.
Do you not think the Big 12 or anybody was going to stand up to you? Who do you think you are, Texas?
What I found interesting, though, is at the end of the day, they thought they were going to lose, which, Mark, had they for 10 minutes in the last 6 weeks, have they indicated for 10 minutes that they thought they were going to lose this case?
No, and I think that part of their problem has been that. I don't think they listened to any outside voices. They were all, we live in a world where people like yes men, where we're surrounded by people who just agree with us. And I've dealt with it with our chat room, our most loyal listeners. If someone says something that's out with I'm not listening to your show anymore. Really? Really? Because of that? Okay. That's always been your right. I've always understood that you guys hold all the power, and we've always said that. But when sometimes we really upset someone and it's like, because of that? But in a world where you have to be surrounded by people who only agree with you, Texas Tech lived in that echo chamber for the last 6 weeks to me, David. And they got the Texas AG to even agree with them. So that was the part that I guess surprised me the most, that, apparently there were no dissenters in Lubbock. They all, we're going to win. So that's the part that confused me the most.
How's that go again?
We're going to win. I think that's what that was. I tried to get it the second time. I don't know if I can repeat that. I may have to listen back after the show.
I wouldn't try it again, okay, because then your voice may start to sound closer to mine. We have to keep one good voice going on the show at least. So, I just wanted to hear it one more time. Thought it reached a certain octave, didn't. No need to press it, though. That's all I'm saying. No need to press it. But just a nice little sports day to get the week started yesterday.
You know, I
Right.
will say with Matt Murschel on with UCF, and he said it, they've got to go to a bowl. I was looking at his X feed before we had him on just to see what he's been posting. And there's a lot of UCF stuff because that's where he spends the majority of his time. UCF put out a post, and he just reposted it yesterday. Most NCAA postseason appearances in 1 year. 11 of their 16 teams qualified for the postseason. That's really good. I mean, I am not taking anything. I hope UCF, because UCF fan hates me because I bring them back to reality too often. But that's amazing. That's a really impressive stat. But you guys all know it doesn't mean squat until you start doing something in the Big 12 in football, right? I mean, you're aware of that. You need to go to a bowl game. And they invested in this quarterback. Apparently, it's the most money that they've spent on a player. The kid from JMU. He's got to deliver.
Well, I would be in favor of that being a yearly policy if I was supportive of a program. I mean, if you don't have one, it's tough to win. So you might as well spend the money and go get somebody you think can help you win. To what degree, we'll see. But I mean, don't you feel you have to get a quarterback that if the rest of the team performs to the level of the quarterback, that you feel you're at least an 8-4 team?
And that, by what I understand, is kind of the ceiling for UCF this year. Now, they play BYU. They play at Houston. I mean, they've got some games against teams that are thought to be pretty good in that conference. But I'm just saying, they went out, by all accounts, they invested more in their quarterback than they've ever invested in a player. They apparently have a really good group of receivers. Now they have to replace an edge rusher that was taken in the first round. That's not easy to do at a UCF. But I think this is a big year for them. I really do. Frost's second year, things have not gone the way they've wanted them to since joining the Big 12. They've, I would say, underperformed since joining the conference.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, I would argue Skip Holtz's run at South Florida was more disappointing than Gus Malzahn's run at UCF. But I really thought, and I'm pretty sure you did too, we both thought those were good hires at the right time, and these guys were going to have some level of success. And they didn't at all. And it was surprising.
Nope. And Frost is back. He led them to heights that they never had at UCF, but it was in the American. Now they need to go bowling in the Big 12. They need to start winning a road game or two in the Big 12. And to I think to almost the same degree, South Florida has a huge year ahead of them. They had a marvelous season last year, but they lost a lot of players to the portal. They lost their head coach to Auburn. But they literally got the hottest coordinator in the country to come to them. Like, that blew me away. If Heartline doesn't work, David, how surprised will you be? I don't go shocked anymore. But come on. Nobody thought he was going to a G5 school. They thought he was going to get a Power 4 job.
Okay, can I ask and get a question answered, and then I'll give you my answer?
Sure.
When Golish took over, we all knew that was a 3-year deal. He was not going to be able to have significant success until year 3. We thought he overachieved even before then. Okay. When are we talking Heartline having, quote, success? Does it have to be this year, or are we going to give him a transition year and he's got to have, quote, success in 27?
I have to answer your question with a question. Can you define success for me what would you consider success being this year for them? 6 and 6?
Contending in the conference, no less than 8 wins. That would be success for
This
me this year.
Ooh, I think that's a tall order.
I do too.
I think that's a really tall order.
I do too. It's why I don't think this year is going to be deemed a successful one next year at this time. And I think Heartline is going to be expected to do significantly better in 27 than he's going to do this year.
Yeah, I to me, they go 6-6, 7-5 this year. I think that's just fine, given the number of players that left in the portal that went with Golish. So I'm putting it on him in 20. They can't go backward in a big way, if you know what I mean, though. They can't go from, what were they, 9-4 last year?
Well, I know what you're saying. They can't go 5-7.
Right.
You'll tolerate 6-6, and whether they win or lose the bowl game, go 7-6, 6-7, whatever. But you won't tolerate a bowlless season. But if it produces nothing more than that, you'll live with it. Because, see, to me, you can't keep being a 3-4 year stepping stone gig. Okay, like to me, it took Golish 3 years. Well, then it needs to take Heartline 1.5 to 2. And then if Heartline stays however long he stays and what have you, then the time period for the next guy has to be no more than a year also. I'm not doing these 3-4 year stepping stone. That doesn't interest me.
Well, I hate to break it to you. They're a 3-4 year stepping stone until they get accepted into a Power 4 conference. Until that happens, I don't care. They are a stepping stone. I don't see it any other way, David. And I know you thought they could keep Golish. I was kind of, no. You thought they could keep the basketball coach. I was like, nah, I don't think so. So I root for them. After spending 100 days basically on the campus, I want success for them. But until they're in a Power 4 conference, I don't know how they're anything but a stepping stone.
And unfortunately, you might be right. All right, but I don't know.
It doesn't mean that the first step has to be at the bottom of the rail, if you know what I mean, for the guy who comes in. They've got to establish something so that Heartline can go 7-5 this year. I think that's a good benchmark, and then get back to contending for the conference. Anything above 7-5, I think with the guys they lost is gravy. But for UCF, David, they've got to go to a bowl game this year. And I think 7-5 at 8-4 would really be helpful. Miller and Moulton, the Pro Hour. Hello, Jacksonville. Hello, Tampa. We've kind of neglected the Jags and talked a little too much Baker Mayfield in the last 2 weeks. We'll have to shift gears at some point. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I see Whataburger's going up too. I don't know who's into Whataburger, but I went past it yesterday. Question for the audience, for our Twitch and YouTube audience. I think I'm screwed here. Not only am I spending money on this damn weekend vacation for my daughter's gymnastics camp, but next week is my wife's birthday. I gave her present a while ago. She asked for something to have. It was an expensive thing for her automobile, and I paid for it. It was like $600. The odds that she has already forgotten about that being a birthday present and that I have to go top that next week. It just dawned on me that I've now got work to do. I'm effed, aren't I? I'm effed, right? You guys are all telling me. Yep, this sucks. I knew it. I knew it. Thank you. I'm not mad at you. This was more of a confirmation than anything else. But I know I have to do something. But see, I don't think a card and flowers and a nice dinner get it done here. I think they're, oh, wow, you guys are just, you guys are wanting me to play. Wow, Mac, that would have been sensational. It would have been better if you said, Nathan, what hurt more, blowing the series against Vegas or missing the wide open net? Yeah, I'm effed. Completely effed. And the item wasn't really to me, even though I asked her what she wanted, and that's what she wanted. It doesn't scream birthday. It screams. What, PJ? Are you a millennial? And do not ever put me in with boomers. I don't like being put in with. I hate getting put in with you, but I hate even more getting associated with boomers. That's just no. Boomers raised us and let us do whatever we want. Okay, they didn't do anything for us then. They don't do anything for us now. Okay, let me just explain that to you. And I welcome I welcome the younger listener, but do not compare me to that generation. No, won't accept it. But it's what she asked for. That's the thing. But I'm still effed.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day one. Some final thoughts all coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow? What am I talking about? How about in 15 minutes? I'm already thinking about booking tomorrow's show, who we're going to have.
Just so you know, I'll help you out a little bit. You're probably done because we got Seth Everett and Bob Harry. It's Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll try to add to it.
Work hard.
Okay.
Work hard. Take a nap. Get a bite to eat.
Well, the nap's a guarantee. The eating's actually been in question lately. That's how bad things have been.
I was so proud of my daughter yesterday. We stopped at a former sponsor, and they'll be back on, local place, not for you in Tampa. You don't know about it, but Jimmy the Beef Guy, because she's got soccer camp this week, and it's at her school. So we're downtown. And we zipped in, and I took down a sandwich without a problem. But on Mondays, they got the meatball sub special. And she went with the meatball sub and took down the first half and started in on the second half. I'm like, really? You're going second half? She's like, I'm hungry, Dad. I'm like, that a girl. She didn't take down the whole thing, but I was just, the fact that she made an effort, I was very, very pleased.
I agree. And go after it too. Don't tiptoe into the second half. No. Big bite. Zest. You zestfully go after the second half.
Sauce everywhere. That was what I was really most proud of. I mean, get dirty. If you're going to eat a sandwich, like the Jimmy the Beef Guy sandwich, Chicago sandwich, they dip that sucker right in the au jus. So the Italian beef is a messy sandwich, and it's supposed to be. You need a stack of napkins. Well, if you're eating a meatball sub with marinara, the same rules apply. You're going to get sauce on your face. You're going to get sauce on your hands, and the odds are you're going to get some on your clothing. So accept it and go after it. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
So there you have it. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Miss any of the show, you can get the podcast at the usual places, including millerandmoulton.com. I did mention, we talked Bucks earlier. We've talked UCF. We talked South Florida. We don't talk as much Jags as we probably should, given the fact that Jacksonville's one of our markets. But I've been thinking about something you said a few months ago. And the Jags, they had a little bit of different scenario, but just hear me out. A little bit of Texas Tech, a lot of yes men in the room, because their draft was unique. Nobody thought that they had a good draft, except the Jags.
Correct.
They're very happy with all of the players that they had taken. And they think that they're smarter than the rest of the room, if you know what I mean. And they're coming off of a really good year. But their defense turned I think they were second in takeaways, and I believe ratio as well. So last year, the Jags ended up with 31 takeaways. They were the second in the league behind the Bears. Tough to do that 2 years in a row. They have pressure on them. And you know this. You know, living there, that they're not going to handle going backward. They can win 10 games and be a wild card, and everybody in Jacksonville is going to be pleased. But after the season they had a year ago, they go throw a 9-8, 8-9, and just say 9-8 and miss the playoffs. People are going to be upset. And I don't think they've dealt with a lot of upset. They've been disappointed. They're used to a good year followed by a bad year, because that's kind of what they've done, David. But wouldn't you say expectations are as high as they've ever been in Jacksonville heading into a season?
I don't know about as ever. I mean, they were 6 minutes from the Super Bowl 8 years ago. They, those Coughlin teams, but it's top five, Mark. I'd say that. I would say this is probably fourth or fifth highest expectations heading into a season that the Jags have ever had. And what I do think is unacceptable is the one scenario that you threw out there. 9-8 and missing the playoffs is unacceptable to a Jags fan this year. They know just about everything went right last year. Okay? This is not a dumb fan base. They know going from where they went to 13-4, beating the teams that they beat last year, that, things came together. However, 9-8 strongly implies third place. Remember, Colts went 8-9, and that's with no Daniel Jones for the last 7 games of the year. Mark, how many wins did they have in those 7?
1.
I believe
0 or 1?
I believe it was 0.
Okay. I thought they were 7-2.
And so, if you're the Jags, you're like, if Houston wins the division, they've made the playoffs 3 years in a row. They've had double-digit wins 3 years in a row. They've won a playoff game 3 years in a row, including a road playoff game last year. They're a good team, but we ain't falling behind the Colts. Not if what you guys have been selling, is the truth.
Well, to me, David, I don't give a damn if they're second or third. If they go 9-8 and miss the playoffs, who cares what position they finished in the division? I'm serious. If you finish second and miss the playoffs, who cares? Because 9's not going to get it done. I mean, look at the NFC North is obviously worse. You have 3 brand new, or AFC rather. AFC North has 3 brand new coaches in it. But if you think 9-8 gets you in, that means either the Patriots or the Bills have gone way back from where they were a year ago. That means that one of the 3 good teams in the West did not come close to living up to expectations. And that means that the Bengals underperform again, which, I mean, come on, at this point, we've got to be used to it. But 9-8, let's just say for the sake of your argument, the Colts go 8-9 and the Jags go 9-8. Is that good enough if they don't make the playoffs?
Absolutely not.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. So to me, where they finish in the division's irrelevant. They have to make the playoffs. It's a wild card team. I'm with you. I think the Jacksonville fans all right, we're going in the right direction.
I think the Jags, what now is the expectation for this group, which is Tony Boselli, the new GM, the new head coach. Now the expectation, because this group has sold it to the fan base, and they delivered right out of the chute. So now the expectation going forward is, so you're telling us we're going to be a consistently good team? Okay. Well, then we need to be a consistently good team. That's usually 10 or more wins a year. Make the playoffs 8 out of 10 years minimum.
7 out of 10. I mean, if they did that, I come on now. Let's. If Jacksonville was going to the playoffs 7 of 10 years, I don't know many there's some fan bases that wouldn't accept it, but most fan bases right now, if you were to poll 20 or 32 teams, I think you'd be in the 75 percentile of teams going, hell yeah, I'd take that.
But see, to me, also, the Jaguars drafted a bunch of guys who the rest of the league says are not going to be impact players. Basically, they drafted this year's backups to be serious contributors next year. That's an arrogant draft, quite frankly, off of one really good year. It's a very arrogant draft.
When you lose your best running back, I still think the pass rush, I love the defense, would love another pass rusher. Receivers really good. A lot on the offensive line. running game as well. But at the end of the day, David, you know who it all boils down to. That's Trevor Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So, David, you still have your Comrex hooked up, right? What I would have to do for you, and I think it is a lot easier done than I thought, is on like where the media assets are, where we change the overlay of the show. There are video clips that I could add, and our audio clips. Yeah, sounds. I've done it. So I think, and I don't know how long I can put the sounds on there or the audio clips, but what I would have to do so that you could run spots is basically give you 3 different clips. Break 1, break 2, break 3. And then if you connected with the satellite company, which you should be able to do without a problem with your Comrex, then you would have to play the commercials, because otherwise that's the only way, without having someone sit in at Sun, which they love us. So, they said they would, but we'll see. Well, Mac, you just answered you. I mean, Ohtani's first off. Let's move him to the side. This is a once in a lifetime player. I mean, we haven't had one really ever, because even Ruth didn't do it at the same time. And Judge, who does he play for again? Oh yeah, the New York Yankees. I mean, who's the player not playing for the Dodgers or Yankees that's getting national media attention? Is there one? Because the Red Sox aren't any good, so they don't have anybody getting attention. Maybe, Schwarber and Harper get a little bit. So, I mean, that the national media doesn't cover baseball anymore. I would bet we talk more baseball than nearly every, maybe Jules, when he's good. And last night they'll mention it because of the cycle. But I don't know which one's Nine Thai Sushi. Is that the place that I like that's next to Pop Stroke? Because that was excellent when I was there, and I loved the owner. Yeah, no, that's what I mean, Jules. Like a little. Like I was thinking him too. Like I'm not arguing with you. Like I was thinking of going there to like Schwarber, Harper, Crow Armstrong, but man, yeah, a little bit, Javi, but he's not going to be there much longer. So yeah, but Skeens and Mizorowski a little bit, but they're only playing once every 5 days. Like, but I think I get more the kid from the Brewers because of stuff on X. I don't really hear anybody talking about him. Although I can't say I listen to a lot of national shows anymore either. I mean, I've been doing more NHL radio, a little NBA radio, believe it or not. Now it's MLB radio time.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Home stretch of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Thanks so much for being with us. Pat Kerwin on Thursday. Seth Everett, Bob Herrig tomorrow. We learned tee times later today for the U.S. Open. And some of the big boys start meeting with the media this morning and this afternoon.
You know, I've thought about something that would be fun. Has nothing to do with sports, but it just hit me because I don't know about you, and I don't just mean you, David. I mean you listening. I get a lot of random texts now. And sometimes they're the random window cleaning company or AC company or whatever company. I'm in your area. Would you like me to stop by? I'm thinking about answering yes to a lot of them and then giving them other people's address. It's too bad because I have one buddy who moved. I used to leave my phone number or his phone number when people like that would call. And I would just send them to his house and drive him nuts, but he doesn't live around here anymore. And if Moulton lived around here, I'd probably do the same thing to him. I will say it would be fun to do to our former producer. That might be something I could get him with. I don't know his address. I'm going to have to get it. And I'll start sending all of these different services to his house.
Well, before I got sick, that would have been spectacular. But I've been counting on the midday nap for a while now, and I am not a nice person. If you disturb me from my midday nap, and I know the disturbance is not accidental. Like, there are enough people in my life who have known for a while that I was battling, cancer's return, and they know I nap. So when they call and wake me up, I'm a blank to them. And I forgot. No, you didn't. No, I'm sorry, you didn't. And if you did, Well, then you're a blank, 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 blank. Click. So if you had started intentionally disrupting the afternoon nap, oofta,
Like I
that
said,
would have
you
caused
don't live-
problems.
you don't live here anymore. You're off the list.
I know, but like I'm saying,
I'm going to start sending these places too. I think that'll be fun. I think that's a fun, practical joke. The person who's getting the other end of it won't,
right,
but I do.
right.
And
Yeah,
hell, who it doesn't matter
Right.
at that point.
you're
I'll
doing it
laugh.
for yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
I'll laugh when they call me and complain.
right.
Laugh hysterically.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
He's going to do it Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to do it Thursday because he's heading out of town. Okay, he can't get back at his wife and daughter because of the gymnastics camp. He's having to eat it this Father's Day weekend. It's going to cost him $1,000. You know, the free camp, and so he can't get back at anybody. Okay, we're not going to have a show on Friday, so I can't yell at him on Friday. I'm going to have to eat it for 4 days.
No, I'm not sending someone because they're not going to Jacksonville, but I can send them to our old producer's house. I owe him that. I really do. The way he's been the past couple of weeks, I think I owe him that.
Well, I agree with that, but you could give out my phone number because you know I don't turn my phone off.
Well, that's true too. 1858, we start today when Abraham Lincoln, while accepting the Illinois Republican Party's nomination for Senate, says, "A house divided against itself cannot stand."
Blah, 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 blah.
1884, the Switchback Railway, built by Lamarcus Thompson, the first roller coaster ride, opens at Coney Island in New York. Henry Ford incorporates Ford Motors today in 1903. 1909, Jim Thorpe makes his pro pitching debut for Rocky Mount in the Carolina League. It caused him to forfeit his Olympic gold medals.
It's disgusting.
1951 in Oakland Hills in Detroit, Ben Hogan wins his second consecutive U.S. Open title. 1960, Psycho, the first one, opened in theaters. The Summer of Love basically began today in 1967 when 50,000 attend the first day of the Monterey International Pop Festival. Trevino wins his first major today in 68 at Oak Hill, beat Jack by 4 shots. First to play sub-70 golf in open history. Today in 72, David Bowie released The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. It was his breakthrough album. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar traded to the Lakers by the Bucks today in 75. Grease opened in theaters, not the musical, the movie. You know, Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, 1978. That was my favorite movie back then. I think I saw it twice in the theater. 1980, The Blues Brothers premiered. Stands the test of time. The Bulls beat the Sonics in 6 for their 4th title in 6 years today in 96. The good old days. Back in 98, the Red Wings would sweep the Caps for back-to-back championships. Tiger beat Phil at Bethpage by 3 in 02. Tiger beat Rocco today in 19 holes at Torrey Pines following their 18-hole playoff in 2008. Justin Rose gets his first major today in 2013 at Marion, beating Phil.
It's his only major.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got like a bunch of seconds in the Masters, but that's still his only major.
2015, Golden State beats Cleveland in 6 for their first title in 40 years. The MVP, Andre Iguodala. 2022, Golden State beats Boston. Steph, your MVP. And 2 years ago, Rory wins at Pinehurst, beating Bryson DeChambeau.
Wasn't it the other way around?
I'm sorry. Bryson wins by beating Rory. We just talked about it. They had, for whatever reason, Rory's name is in bold here. It just
Gotcha.
confused me.
Quick question. I'll throw it out there. I'll give you 20 years. Because the Warriors, you said 4 years ago on this day, beat the Celtics. I'll give you add 16 more years. Will the Warriors win a title between now and 2042?
Yes.
I say no. I say no. Rick Barry and Steph Curry are the reasons they've won titles. I don't see any of them playing for them in the future.
Geronimo, Stan Laurel, Laurel and Hardy, Rick Adelman, wrestler The Ultimate Warrior, and Tupac would have all celebrated birthdays today. Ron LaFleur, from prison to the base paths, he's 78. Roberto Duran, 75. Tree Rollins, I didn't think he was alive for some reason, but I didn't have a death date next to him, is 71. MC Ren from NWA is 57. The aforementioned Phil Mickelson is 56. Kerry Wood, 49. Hockey player Rick Nash, 42. And Justin Jefferson is 27 years old today. What did I miss, David?
I'm just curious, because you're a big Dylan fan. They say today is the day, which was day 2 of recording, that he records Like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, I actually had that yesterday from a different site, so I didn't do it 2 days in a row because I had it as yesterday, and then one of the other sites I check had it as today. I don't even think it's the best Dylan song.
Well, that's right. I thought you had said that once before. So, okay.
In fact, there's a few I would have before that. I mean, I know it's a Paramount song and all those things, but to me, it's not one of my probably top 3 Dylan songs. This off the top of my head.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got, Mark?
We go to Norway for the good, not because of that guy that scores all the goals and is supposed to, light the World Cup on fire, but because of a 6-year-old on a field trip found a sword that apparently goes back to the early Viking age. The only thing I don't know about the sword is that if he got any money for it. But the Scramasax is what the sword is called. A single-sided iron sword was found on a field trip. It's been given to the Museum of Cultural History in Oslo. For the bad, we go to Lehigh Acres, where, according to Lee County Sheriff's Office officers, a drone was working on a call in the area. While monitoring the area, a group of men appeared to be carrying a gun, shot at the drone. Turned out that it was Alvin Antonio Serrato, a 26-year-old, who took 2 shots in the direction of the drone. It was caught on camera. Deputies responded and arrested him. It was a BB gun that he was shooting. And Lee County said, well, you should know the difference between a privately owned drone and one belonging to law enforcement. Because the law enforcement has emergency lights on it. Really? I'm not advising shooting at drones, but is anybody surprised that if a drone was flying over your house in Lehigh Acres or in a million other spots in the state of Florida, that somebody wouldn't shoot at it?
I would, if I had a gun, I would.
Finally, the ugly, we go to Detroit, where Brianna and Carriana Long got the wrong order at a restaurant. They started arguing with the worker.
Oh boy.
Then they attempted to throw hot grease at the worker, and one of the sisters would then stab the worker.
Come on. Is this really that important?
The worker made her way to a stranger's car where she called 911. The 2 sisters were arrested, including Brianna, who was 9 months pregnant when she stabbed the woman and gave birth 4 days before her arraignment. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 16th. I wanted those fries extra crispy.
Does she get... I'm sorry. Nope, do it.
Brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, capecops.com, capecops.com.
Does she get to use that as a plausible defense? You know, the hormones and, you know, I was a full 9 months pregnant. I mean, does she get to use this? Is this like Sorsby at Texas Tech? I mean, does she actually have to use the pregnancy?
She tried. It didn't work. They both were found guilty and some serious bonds were set for them.
Everybody's playing today in baseball. All 30 teams, 15 games. So it's game 2 of the Marlins and Phillies, of the Rays and the Dodgers. So Toronto's in Boston to take on the Red Sox. I can't believe I'm saying this. Mark, you know it's a battle of first place teams in the Bronx when the Chicago White Sox are in town to face the Yankees.
Awesome.
Unreal. Guardians in Milwaukee to face the Brewers. Technically, Guardians and White Sox tied, so you can say that's a battle of first-place teams as well. And we'll say it again, Padres-Cardinals, 2 of the 3 wild-card teams in the National League facing one another. All right, World Cup, here we go. 3 of the 4 matches on Big Fox. The noon match between Austria and Jordan, that's an FS1 special. And then I got 3, 6, and 9. France, Senegal at 3. Iraq, Norway at 6. Argentina and Algeria at 9. All on Big Fox. So there you go. ESPN, 2 and 8 o'clock. Elimination games today. West Virginia, Troy at 2. Loser goes home. Georgia, Texas at 8. Loser goes home.
Can Senegal do what some of these other nations have done and play with France? I doubt it. Norway's got like the best goal scorer in the game, and then Argentina tonight. They should all be one-sided, but so have a bunch of these matches, and they've turned out not to be. We'll find out later today. Bob Herrig, Seth Everett on the show tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everyone. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332516.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive. Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton